So the advantage, Two Pint, of being a repulsor lift droid is that when there's fresh snow on the ground and it's layered and it's ankle deep, is that you don't leave footprints as you travel. And as you emerge from the side streets and alleys leading away from the hangar bay to the main lane that stretches north-south along the bay, and the road has been covered up, so all of the traffic and all of the activity, right, has been just covered up in this fresh layer of thick, wet snow, and it's quiet because there's no one on the streets, because the Empire has instituted a curfew as they search for a missing Imperial officer that has suddenly disappeared right after arriving at Somber. But you do see footprints, and you see that single side-by-side trail of a pair of Imperial snowtroopers on patrol that have walked through the lane recently because the divots are still fresh and they haven't been filled back in. But for the moment, you don't see anybody, you don't hear anybody. There's some lights and a little bit of distant sound still coming from the landing pad where you know that there are Imperial snowtroopers on guard and where there's a bit of activity and the gates are there, and the recently arrived Imperial shuttle probably still sits on the pad. But you don't see anybody for the moment, and so you need to get across the main lane to get to the other side of the street so you can get to the cantina where you're hoping to find the protocol droid Q3PO. Go ahead and make the first roll of this episode, which is your sneak check, just to hover yourself quietly across the way.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to add in your wild die for that, please.
Yeah. Maybe this will be the day I roll good on sneak. It could happen.
Could happen.
It wasn't bad. I didn't explode, but it's not bad. That's a 15.
Perfect. And no complication, which is good, because that means that the B2 battle droid legs that you currently carry in your winch that are dangling and making little clanking noises as you go don't jostle loose or make a louder noise in the middle of the street as you cross. Get across the street, tuck into the dark alcoves, past the paint shed, which you recently used to restock your volume of paint available for your nozzles and sprayers. Past the depot entrance, where there's been talk about some dangerous people inside. And then finally to the entrance of the cantina. And you know that you can try and enter through the front entrance right here, right now, or go in through the back because you know there's a kitchen there as well.
I think then we'll go around... Well, I was gonna say go through the kitchen, but Two Pint doesn't know what that looks like, so I think we'll stick with, like, familiar territory.
Sure.
And, going through the front.
The cantina door is locked. I'm going to need 2 Pint to access the terminal. It's going to be a security roll. Security falls under your technical attribute.
Okay.
And that's to essentially open up locked areas.
Let's see, my technical is good. It's 4D plus 1. I didn't explode, but I rolled pretty good again. That's 6, 12, 15, 18, 19.
Effortless. The cantina door is often not locked because it's open 24 hours, and so it doesn't take much to disable the lock and just get in. Get inside, close the door again. You're inside the cantina. No music, no revelry, no drinks clinking, no sounds of the serving droid wandering around. It's not in the cantina, so maybe it's in the back recharging since the curfew's on anyway. They didn't exactly clean up before they shut down. They just kind of shut down probably in response to the curfew. So there's still stains on the floors, on the tables, and so forth. It's part of the, I guess, the organic experience of coming to have drinks. And at the back, behind the bar, behind all the tables, at the far wall at the back, mounted on the pedestal, the dormant, arms drooping, head dropped down, torso of the protocol droid Q3PO still mounted to the pedestal, attached to that terminal that allows it to be to receive credits to provide translation services.
Perfect. I'm gonna scoot right over and boot him up. Try and wake him up without the credits. Just be like, "Hi, do you want legs?" See if he wakes up.
You know how to access a terminal. You've already done this before. It's not complex. You bypass the terminal for payment and just go right into the system. And he's drawing power from the pedestal, from the building, essentially, and you boot him up that way. And he pops up, photoreceptors light up, and he looks around for a second. I am Q3PO. I am supposed to provide you with translation services.
Do you want these legs?
And Q3PO kind of pauses and kind of tilts the head a couple times. I remember you. The beautification droid that doesn't make anything beautiful.
Well, art is subjective, but you know.
What do you mean, do I want legs?
I'll put these on and then you don't have to be stuck on a wall. You could go do whatever you wanted, really. I'll put them on right now, but if you don't want them, I'll also leave. Or I could leave them behind the bar and then you could get someone else to do it later, if that works. I mean, whatever you want. But they're yours if you want them, is what I'm saying.
Did you purchase me from my master?
No. I was gonna steal you, kinda. You're gonna steal yourself, really, is what's gonna happen here.
Those aren't protocol droid legs.
Nope, but they're better, I think. There's the joints are good at, you know, more working around tough terrain and stuff like you got out there. You know, protocol droid legs, good legs, but sometimes it can be hard to walk in the snow. Can't really lift them up much. These could lift them up real good. Snowshoes, basically.
You want to give me legs so that I can walk out. And
Yes,
where
and
am I
go do
supposed
whatever
to
you
go?
want.
Whatever I want.
I mean, whatever you want to do. You could stay here if you wanted, but have legs. You could, maybe you could come with me and my friends. We're, I can't tell you what we're gonna do until later, but you could maybe come with, us, or you could, you know, go somewhere else. I don't know what you want to do, and you don't have to take the legs. I can return them. But if you want them, they're yours. That's all I'm saying.
Why would you offer me legs?
You wanted them. You were complaining about being stuck, so I thought, I'll get them for you. You can't...
I can see that sarcasm has never been part of your programming.
No, here's the thing. I work with teenagers, so I'm actually very familiar with it. So I just kind of, I just kind of ignore it when it happens. Otherwise, we're there for a while.
They didn't provide me legs so that I couldn't leave. They mounted me to the pedestal so that they can use me to generate credits for their empire, and his little rigid arms kind of gesture to the cantina. If you give me legs and I walk out, then they're going to find me and they're going to deactivate me.
Well, that's why I was saying you could probably come hang out with me and my friends for a bit. We could hide you and then get you out of here. You have to promise not to be rude to my friends, though. Most of the time, you have to tone down your rudeness like 5%. Not much. Just, you know, they've been through a lot. They're kids.
Etiquette is a 3PO parameter, not a maintenance droid parameter. Who taught you etiquette?
Actually, one of my friends' moms.
I would like the
She also taught me how to do art. It's pretty cool.
So you do art in the cold air?
I'll do art anywhere. I mean, art can happen anywhere. Art can be anything, anywhere, at any time. It's the intention behind it, really.
You're a repulsor droid. I don't think you know anything about legs at all, but I would like the legs.
All right. I will get to it then. All right, get ready, and we'll scoot over and start tinkering. And I think it's just kind of talking the whole time about like, probably about Healy and like, yeah, and you know, gave me these so I could create art, and then, you know, through, yeah, just kind of giving the backstory of that.
Okay.
To
Okay.
this droid.
While you do that, please roll your droid programming and repair roll, also under your technical.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Didn't explode. Didn't fail. That's a 17. Ooh, I'm rolling so good. Thank you, dice.
Q3PO has a lot of comments about your technique, but can't argue with the efficiency with which you can quickly, essentially, disable them from the pedestal, bring up Q3PO's internal power supply, so now they're running off of their own power supply again, which, and sort of rebooting their system that way. Get the legs attached, and then help Q3PO, for the first time in many years, stand up. And I thought I had... Maybe I have it here. Q3PO stands up. The knees, the ankles that actually bend and move. Q3PO stands a little taller than a standard protocol droid normally would. The B2 battle droids are quite tall, and a lot of that's built into their leg height for sturdiness. And then you see Q3PO look at you for a second, and then kind of look down at its own torso and legs, and then does like a squat. And then rises back up and then does a squat again. These legs are very heavy.
Oh, are they? We could work on that. I have a friend who's really good at fixing droid stuff and might be able to help you fine-tune them a bit.
Where is the owner of these legs?
I don't know. If you want to find out, maybe we could do that later, but I feel like the longer we stand here talking, we're gonna get caught, and then we're both gonna get scrapped for parts. So
Q3PO's head kind of rises up, and it kind of looks at you, and the photoreceptors kind of almost do that blink for a moment. And what do you mean caught? Are we not supposed to be here right now?
Well, I'm certainly not, and you have legs now, so you're probably not either.
I would like to not get new legs and also get blasted in the same day.
Well, then let's get going. Come on. Do you have stuff? Do you want to go rob the, cash register? I don't know. They've been stealing your money for years.
Robbery?
Go take some of theirs. They've been stealing from you. Steal it back. I don't know. Do whatever you want. I have to paint something.
Q3PO does a couple laps in the cantina, and kind of like testing out the legs, looking at it, making a bunch of comments about how effective they are and how much more mobility they have compared to standard protocol droids. At the same time, is lamenting the fact that they are probably salvaged off of the smoldering torso of a droid somewhere else in the community, and that you're probably a bit of a droid salvager, and then sort of ends up behind the bar, things, and actually starts rummaging through some of the things that are there,
yeah.
and starts picking up a few things. And as that happens, knowing that there's a cure for you, 2 Pint, knowing that there is time is of the essence, knowing that your friends are probably waking up right now and starting to look around and wondering where their droid companion is gone, and knowing that there are Imperial snowtroopers on patrol that could come along at any time, time is of the essence, 2 Pint. which means, of course, it's time to put a mural on the wall. What do you put on the mural? What do you put on the wall that's in the where the pedestal is, where Q3PO's torso stood? Where do you what do you put in replacement of that?
I think just kind of fills in a quick silhouette of where the droid used to be. But this time with legs attached and then little footprints leaving like across the ground with like hyper realistic credits looking like they're kind of dropping out of the pocket as they go. And then just above the like door frame, whatever the Star Wars equivalent of like boss makes $1, I make a dime is.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. You finish the mural as Q3PO steps over to you, holding a handful of credits that they've found on the bar.
Good.
Is this sufficient payment for the legs?
Oh, you don't have to. That's for you to have. If you want to pay me for the legs, I'll take one of those. But you don't really have to pay me for it, because I did it because I wanted to, and you wanted it. You could also give it to my friends. They eat and stuff, so they might appreciate it.
Maintenance, beautification, and etiquette, and charity?
I am multifaceted, as you can now be. You don't just have to be snarky anymore. You can do whatever you want.
My programming is not snarky.
It's a little snarky.
My programming is precise.
Which can be snarky. They're not mutually exclusive, really.
And as Q3PO holds a pile of credits in their hand, and a little bit of the credits drop to the floor as their hands are not equipped for proper grasping and holding of things like that. And as you have the discussion, and as this mural is just set up on there, there's a little like a tinkle of dishware off to the side. And as you look over, and as Q3PO looks over, and as you see a man standing holding a plate of food and a drink in their hand that they're just brought to their mouth, as Sledge looks at both of you.
Ah! What? You work here! Boo! Go away. I'm busy.
Boo yourself!
I'm stealing your droid. So, turn around, walk away.
It's not my droid.
Great.
But why are you stealing it?
Because he didn't want to be here anymore. So we're leaving.
So the girl was right, and you've got a way out.
Listen, I'm not gonna tell you anything because I don't trust you, and you also tried to kill my friends once. So...
I was only trying to kill an Imperial officer.
Right, but you weren't too concerned about my friends surviving the encounter. So... that's kind of a point off for you.
I'm pretty sure one of those brats' uncle tried to shoot me once, too.
Well, is he around right now? No, so my account is more important, alright? Goodbye. We're also taking some money, so if you don't want to be caught for that, go away. I don't know. Stand outside. I don't know. Goodbye. Just gonna, like, pick up the coins off the floor. It's just like, I don't have time to deal with Sledge right now. We have bigger fish to fry.
He's like, wait. What? And he puts the plate down, and he puts the drink down. And he just looks at you, and he just goes, droids. He says, there's snowtroopers on patrol. Come this way. And he's leading you back to the kitchen.
Alright.
If you follow.
Fine.
And
yeah, I'll follow
he leads you through a cramped industrial kitchen. It's not terribly big because it's just tacked onto the back of the cantina. It's greasy and stained and disgusting. And Q3PO has all sorts of commentary about there's no beautification droids in employment at this establishment. And then Sledge takes you and hits the panel, and a smaller back door opens up, leading into the alley behind the cantina. Again, fresh snow, unmarred.
Right. Do me a favor, if you are capable of those, and just in like 10 minutes, start yelling that, oh my gosh, the droid's gone, or something. but give me time to, like, go away. Alright?
The longer the curfew stays in place, the longer it'll be before anybody comes downstairs to even check the cantina. I'm not going to say a damn thing. I'm going to get my food and go back to my room and continue with not having seen anything.
Great. I didn't see you. You didn't see me. Let's hope to do this again sometime. Alright. It's gonna kinda... come on. We gotta go quick, because they are out looking for suspicious activity. And I think we qualified. Let's go.
Tell the girl this makes us even.
Alright. I will. And, you know... you're annoying, but you're from home, so good luck or whatever.
Luck has nothing to do with it.
Alright. Alright, I try to be nice. Alright, let's go. Escort my new friend into the snow.
Rather than the protocol droid shuffle, Q3PO is able to walk and actually march through the snow. But you quickly realize as Sledge just watches you leave and then leaves it at that and hits the panel and the door slides across. You're back out in the quiet cold of the snow. No cold for you, but still the same. Mm-hmm. You do realize that there's one problem. As you get back from the alley, back up to the street, you don't even have to roll perception. You can hear the sounds of an Imperial Snowtrooper patrol going down the main lane again, following that same trough that they've been marching through as they go. They're having a quiet conversation between the two of themselves. They're just on this. They're not on search duty. They're just on patrol duty. And so you can hear them having a quiet conversation. But as you look down and you realize you're hovering, you're not leaving a track, but Q3PO is leaving fresh, heavy-plated battle droid footprints through the snow leading up to the lane from the cantina.
How densely packed are the buildings here? Could we walk on roofs?
No, not enough. Okay. No. And you need to cross the main lane, so you have to get across that big open space to get to the other side where the landing bay is going to be.
Alright, here's the deal. We're going to have to run across the main road. We can wait for a time where we don't think anyone's watching. You need to be on the lookout, too. Okay, we're in this together now. Right? So we're gonna look, we're gonna make sure no one's watching us, we're gonna cross the main road. As soon as we get across, we're gonna need to figure out a way to hide your footprints. Okay, I've got some ideas, but you've got any, all
you
yours.
You just gave me legs, and now you don't want me to leave footprints. He raises his voice a little bit. It's a little bit carrying in the quiet of the street.
Okay. Shush. One thing at a time.
Your programming is not aligning.
My programming is doing great. You need to get better at thinking on the fly. I know that's a new skill for you, because you've been on a wall, but this is how the world works.
I don't have a repulsor. I don't fly.
I know. That's why we need to... Okay, you know what? I'm not having this argument with you. Come on. It's just gonna look around to make sure no one's watching, and drag him across the street.
The patrol goes down, and then you and him can run across. You just have to wait long enough until the snowtroopers have just started to go around the lane slightly curves, and so they're just slightly out of sight, and you can get across. But yes, now there's a fresh set of tracks going from the alley of the cantina all the way crisscrossing across. So when that patrol comes back around and hits that point, they're going to see somebody has walked across the main lane here in Somber.
So it's actively snowing right now. So I would love to use my tummy laser gun to kind of melt snow as we go behind, so it'll freeze, and hopefully the freeze will get covered by snow. So like something happened, but you can't see footprints.
Okay. Okay. Make do a perception roll. If you have search, you can use search. It's almost like a reverse sort of like looking for tracks. We're trying to cover up tracks, and so, or even almost like sleight of hand. It's kind of an imperfect fit, which would be under dexterity. So perception or dexterity, whichever one is more favorable for you, just pick one of those attributes, and this is just going to be 2 pints attempt to cover the tracks.
I will do search, because that is best.
Perfect.
For me. Okay. I didn't roll good, but I didn't explode or have a complication. 8, 10, 12.
You get Q3PO into the alleys, into the side streets, and then you go back up to the lane, and then just kind of smooth over those snow tracks, so the snow kind of melts and it becomes a bit of a puddly mess, and then fresh snow starting to fall on top of it. And it's still obvious that something has passed this way, but like I said, if the snow covers it in time before anybody finds it again, then that'll be a thing. That'll be enough to hopefully throw them off, or at least delay them long enough. And then you are going to take Q3PO back to the hangar, back around the backside of the hangar to the maintenance area, and wedge their immobile upper torso through that narrow passage. But it can be done because at least Q3PO is the right size. And return and wait for your friends to find you. And we wish to thank all of you for returning to join us for Quadrilateral Frostfall, a Star Wars actual play. And we welcome you to Dungeon Scrawlers, your home for adventures told by some of your favorite authors and storytellers. I am Jason Collins. I am the Game Master for Quadrilateral Frostfall, a Star Wars actual play. I am very proud to be here today with all of you, and before we introduce our amazing cast, I have a couple of sponsors I want to tell you about who support us. Both make dice, and both are awesome in very different ways. In a realm where most warriors use plastic light weapons, Norse Foundry specializes in metal dice. When you roll them, it feels like you are skillfully smashing the monster horde. Norse Foundry offers other cool gaming accessories as well, and you can find their store and more about them at norsefoundry.com. Phoenix Dice is named for the creature that rises from the ashes because they use all recycled materials for the dice. They are always designing and testing multiple types of recycled materials for your enjoyment, raising dice from the ashes and onwards to epic adventures. You can find their dice and accessories at phoenixdice.com. Welcome to Quadrilateral Frostfall, a Star Wars actual play using Star Wars the Role-Playing Game 2nd Edition, revised and expanded, as originally published by West End Games. As I said, my name is Jason Collins, and you can find links to all of my freelance tabletop writing work, links to the first chapter of Quadrilateral and on all these episodes here, in addition to my comic book work, all on my link tree at digital_Collins. And of course, you can find all of our episodes for this show and all of the amazing shows we have at Dungeon Scrawlers Twitch and YouTube channels.
Hi, everybody. My name is Barnaby. You can find me all over the internet at that's_Barnaby. You can also find me at Imagination Arcade, where we are doing a Marvel Multiverse campaign over there.
Hello, my name is Mara. You can find me on the internet at Lore Dropout or College of Lore Dropout. You can also find me over on Starlight Tales, a queer and trans-led actual play in space, but fantasy space. You can also find me in your local library behind a huge stack of books. I'm there. You just have to look.
Hi guys, I'm Diana. You can find me most places at Zapix Dragonona. You can also find me over on Starlight Tales doing space fantasy shenanigans, or telling my dog to be quiet while I'm recording. I don't know if y'all can hear that. You can also find some of my writing in the upcoming TTRPG Story Bake. It's a fun, funky little baking adventure, and I wrote one of the modules, and it's my very first time ever writing anything like that. So please go show it some love. That's all.
Hi everyone, my name is May. You can find me on the internet at Maybe Mayhem. You can also find me on my podcast, Socially Plagued, where my friend Mary Kate and I complain about stuff or talk about sort of whatever. It's a good, chill hangout time.
And I am Eric Scott B, one of the founders of the Dungeon Scrawlers. So pleased to have Quadrilateral on our channel. It is an amazing show, and you're all doing such a great job. I play a supporting character in this game, and I am glad when I'm here and not dead. Yeah. You can find me on various socials and on the cover of several novels that I've written. I think I published about 20 novels so far. I'm sure you'll find one of them if you look me up in Google. So, like I said, I'm part of the Dungeon Scrawlers. We have a Discord. You should join the Discord if you haven't already. It's really fun. We talk about all of our various campaigns, and we're talking about different games and different platforms and different gig opportunities. So if you want to learn about writing, you want to talk about gaming, you want to just watch some cool stuff, come join our Discord, or just keep watching the Twitch channel. That's it.
Gila and Tanal and Vilra and Ren eventually wake up from their semi-slumber, sitting immersed in this amazing hot spring that you found, hidden in the ground under a shed at the back of the landing pad. You feel substantially better, most of you. Some of you might still be sitting at a wounded status, just based on the fact that you might need a little bit more medical care, but some of you have already recovered from that. As you get your senses and get your senses about you again and start to look around, and you can see there is a massive mural that has been painted up the stone wall, up the stone stairs, of a starship streaking toward the sky and to the stars. Your droid companion obviously having left that there for you. It's time to get out. Too hot, too waterlogged, and the cold air, of course, mixing with that. So you get dressed again, get your gear back on, and in the time it takes all of you to kind of reacquaint yourselves, and the time it takes for Ren to get used to how to dress themselves with the new mechanical arm attached to their torso. And then you realize that it's still just the four of you, and Two Pint is nowhere nearby and is not inside the hot springs anymore.
They probably just went back inside, right?
Probably. Did they?
I hope so.
Yeah. Did he have a comm link? No.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
We should have enough comm links for everyone, right?
Yeah, we've redistributed the wealth.
Does Two Pint have ears?
It's a great question.
I guess hearing receptors?
Vilra, as a droid repair technician, absolutely knows that yes, that Two Pint has audio receptors and can absolutely pick up, outside audio that's around them.
I guess not technically ears. We could build him ears for aesthetics. I think Two Pint would rock an earring really well.
Oh, actually that's so true. I was a little skeptical until you said that, and now that feels like the most important thing for us to do today, if I'm being
I think we should cancel all plans and focus purely on getting Two Pint ears so that we can pierce them.
I agree. I think they'd rock an industrial bar.
Get up to the top of the stone stairs, exit the shed that covers up the hot springs. That fresh snow is everywhere, still falling. The light in the sky has changed its tint and it's starting to brighten. It's been several hours. Dawn is coming. You can head back to the landing pad. Heading back to the landing bay. Single file around the back side of the ring. Get inside through the maintenance shed. And as you get inside the landing pad, you can see that, yes, the landing ramp, of course, the ship is down. And you can hear some little bit of light clanging and some somebody walking along the deck plates inside the ship.
Ooh. Immediately hand to the gun.
I'm gonna pull out that vibra blade.
Hide behind Tanal.
Fisticuffs.
Head up inside the ramp, cycler rifle at the ready, vibra sword at the ready, and you can see a 3PO protocol droid attached to the legs of a B2 battle droid standing in the crew area, holding up some basic tools that were left on the table, and looks and sees you all come in and immediately drops the tools, and the hands go up and there's a loud clang as it hits the deck plate, and you see Q3PO standing there in the midst of the ship.
I think, like, immediately, like, it drops the weapon. Oh, sorry, man, you scared us.
Also, I had organized those, but what's going on?
I've been stolen. And he still has his hands up in the air.
I think the
As
term
yes.
is, yeah, I think the term is liberated, but stolen works too.
And then, 2 Pint, you would have been up at the cockpit just kind of checking in on some of May's work with the ship and all the repairs, and you can come hovering back down, and now your droid companion 2 Pint has returned to you alongside 3PO.
How was
Well,
your
you've
nap?
been pretty good. You've been busy.
I don't sleep, so I thought, might as well make use of the time. And, a lot of humidity isn't good for all the wiring, so.
Right, gotcha.
Did you put the legs on? That you did a really good job.
Thank you. Right. He's got some complaints. So, he might
Oh,
want
does
you
he?
to help, loosen him up a bit. Or whatever. But,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can work on that.
Doesn't know much about anything. A lot about translation and protocol. Kind of. But, can we take him with us? If he wants to. He doesn't know if he wants to. But if he does, can he come?
Are you gonna clean up after him?
Ren, who has been trying not to laugh this whole time, is like, oh,
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
here we are,
Uh,
about to die, and your first thought is to liberate a translator droid.
I
Don't
don't
be
think
so
we're going to
pessimistic.
die. Let's not get into the dramatics.
No, it's
And-
not a criticism. I'm happy.
Can protocol droids shoot guns?
Can you shoot them?
Why not?
combat is not part of my primary or secondary programming.
What if I helped you make it part of your programming?
Are you the droid technician for this crew?
Yes?
So you're responsible for maintaining the primary and secondary programming of the beautification and maintenance droid, who neither beautifies nor understands the alignment of the correct legs to droid ratio.
I think,
Okay,
I think
first
Two
of
Pints
all-
responsible for themselves, all right?
Yeah, for real. I do first aid for both my organic companions and inorganic companion. So,
Organics do leak everywhere, that's true.
it's true. And our beautification droid has challenged the definition of beautification and is less traditional than what you may believe. And we think that's better.
Q3PO looks down at their legs and looks up at you and says, "Less traditional is also accurate."
Yes, see?
We
Now,
can
and
get
also,
you your regular legs. That's
We can
just what
get-
they had.
these are loner
Just-
legs. It's called being grateful. You should try it. Maybe that's part of your programming. Grateful.
If I finish this day without being discovered or deactivated, then that may provide opportunity for acknowledgement and gratitude. But
Okay.
your own crew is describing that you may be deactivated today, so I'm not certain that the circumstances are entirely beneficial for me yet.
Well, help us survive the day, and you'll get something out of it. Maybe better legs. Maybe I can adjust that attitude of yours.
Maybe a
But also-
different world.
But also, don't do anything you don't want to do, because you can act on your wants now.
And Q3PO looks at 2 Point at that and seems to be processing that, having not an immediate retort for that. Being given the concept of free will is not something that they've been presented with. So they don't have anything immediate to say, but they seem to be again doing a couple more squats and testing out the legs and seeming to become acclimated to them a little bit better. So as
Do we
this
have a-
conversation happens, go ahead.
Do we have a blaster to give the droid?
Okay, you give the droid a blaster.
Oh, if they've never used one of those things before and we don't have time to teach them, they actually might be more of a hazard than a help.
Can I program a droid to shoot a gun?
Not in the time you have.
Dang. Okay. Well, I figured I'd ask because
And you've not worked with combat droids before, so your Vilra's sort of familiarity with what protocols those require are a little bit different than maintenance load lifters and that type of thing, right? And even just beautification droids. So, but it can be
All
something.
right.
It can be something for the future if you think about it. Yes.
All right, droid. Don't use this unless an enemy is within point blank range. That is to say, 2 steps of those giant legs next to you, and only in self-defense. Welcome to the crew, Q.
And you hand Q a blaster pistol.
Zzz, zzz, zzz. Yeah.
Bad feeling about this.
You have mismatched appendages as well.
I do. It's a theme. Did my
Yeah.
arm come from the same droid that its legs came from? Anyway.
You hand Q with a blaster pistol, which it holds awkwardly at first, and then kind of like starts looking at it, trying to figure out what it's supposed to do with it. And as this conversation took place, and as everybody got back on the ship and you get reacquainted with everybody, you could hear a voice calling out from the hangar bay, quietly, but just asking out who's there. And you can hear Dale's voice calling out.
We probably should tell Dale about Q3. He's already so mad at us and told us not to go anywhere, and we all didn't listen.
Well, I mean, there's a whole droid here. I mean,
I'm gonna get in trouble.
okay, and he's not going to be any more mad at us than he already is.
That's
yeah,
fair.
Vilra walks out at that point.
Is this
Hey, Dale.
Dale a friend of yours? Ren has never met Dale, so
I wouldn't
that's
call him a
right.
friend.
He's like he's helped us out.
Reluctant
He's been
uncle?
helping us. Yeah,
Kinda.
big disappointed uncle energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind
that's a
of,
really good
yeah.
way to put that.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
say no more.
He's a Jedi.
Ren stiffens a little bit. Okay, say more.
He'll let him say it.
You know he's not gonna.
Yeah, he's really like uncomfortably neutral.
He just looks like
A lot of divorce dad
clenched
energy.
all the
A
time.
lot of divorce dad energy.
Really interested in following the rules, which is new for us.
So you can hear Dale at the bottom of the ramp. You have your conversation inside, and then do you go down? To
Yeah.
greet
Oh
him?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go down the ramp. There's Dale. He sees you. Q3PO doesn't immediately follow you down, stays inside the ship, still holding onto the blaster pistol awkwardly and just kind of taking stock of their new surroundings.
I'm just gonna reach over and turn the safety on that thing.
Turn it on the stun setting.
Smart.
Yeah, just set it to stun.
Totally. Dale nods. He's got his full like work gear on, the overalls, right, the boots, the tool belts, and everything, and he's ready to go. And he says, "I have to report for the day shift, and if you're coming with me," and he points at 2 Pint. "Now's the time. We have to do this now."
Great. Yes.
The curfew's still in effect. They've only allowed everybody who's reporting for shift work or for the workers coming off of the night shift to do. There's going to be a little bit of activity in the streets as everybody gets off the boats and returns to their homesteads. So if you need to get somewhere, if you still think the captains are willing to get in the boats, and they'll be going off, they'll be still doing their fishing for the day. But if you're going to be there with them, you've got to use the time that we have now as everybody's in the streets for a few minutes. There's going to be snow troopers everywhere watching and ensuring that curfew stays enforced and everybody gets back to where they need to be. But you'll have a brief little bit of time to get from here to the boats, to the docks, if that's still what you intend to do. If we're going to do this, the boats have to be there in order to evacuate the workers. Are you confident that the captains are going to be able to do that?
Yes.
Well, what's the other option? They better be.
Gila's very good at talking to people. They've got it.
And he looks between Tanal and Ren and Vilra, and they're going to need help because the probe droids are going to be on patrol in the bay. And the moment those fishing vessels get too close to the pylons, the probe droids are going to move to intercept.
Well, finally get to test this thing out, and kind of pats the rifle that's slung across her back. Who's up for shooting a little skeet, yeah?
Let's go.
I'm not sure how I'm supposed to help. I can get the ship ready. I can't shoot things.
Dale looks at you and says, you might need to leave quickly once everything starts happening, so is the ship ready?
I think so. Is it okay?
You've got the nav computer installed now. Like you said, there's no way to test it. There's no way to do the calculations to make the jump to hyperspace until you're clear of the gravity well of the planet. So until you were a Skyward, but yes, it's fueled up still. You're able to confirm that there was enough. You're able to have it charged enough for electrical that it should start for you, at least to get the start. And then once it's up and running, the power plant will run and it'll power up. So everything else in the cockpit was intact. Like I said, it was a unique blessing that the Empire didn't tear it apart. All they took was the nav computer years ago when they impounded it, just to trace its flight paths, and the technical crew, which you found the orders for them to come back and search and search for contraband, right? Which meant they would have disabled and torn apart the ship to do so. They never arrived, and so the ship has remained intact all this time.
Also, there's no like tracking device on it, right? So, like, if we fly this away, they can't follow us?
Yeah, what you've searched in the time that you spent in the ship, no, you never found anything to that effect. It seemed clear that they had just come in and gotten the nav computer and then left right away because that was the primary orders. And then Brim has spent a few years in the bay with the ship now, and he's never had any run-ins with the Empire over it. So
okay.
Because they just shuttered the bays, and so no one bothered to come back to them at that point, right? Because they wanted all the traffic to come through the new landing pad they built.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I can get this ready. I can be ready to go. We all have, after we've liberated some comm links from the deceased, we can all communicate. You just let me know when, and I'll fire her up.
Yeah, everybody can have a comm link now, including 2 Pint. Yeah, everybody's got the weapons that they are choosing to carry with them. Who's going to the boats? Tanal and Jila and Ren? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Dale gives you all a moment and says, "Okay, we're ready to go as soon as you are." And he steps away just a little bit and gives you a moment as you've all sort of assembled at the bottom of the ramp. And Q3PO was kind of stepped into view a little bit. And Dale didn't seem to pay any mind that there was a protocol droid nearby. He made note of it, but it's at this point he's used to a bit of curiosities, but it's not considered a threat. And the droid's not holding the blaster pistol at the moment, so it's not like he's concerned about that. So Dale steps away. He's closer to the maintenance corridor leading to the back of the bay, and you were all assembled at the bottom of the ramp, and you have a moment as a crew one more time to confirm your details before you split up.
So this is it, huh?
Yeah. We can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we go over the plan one more time, just to make sure we all understand what we're doing?
Yeah.
That make me feel a little better.
I think so.
I think so. I think it's a good idea.
Okay. So 2 Point, you're going with Dvorstad Dale to go on the boat and set up the explosives, right? That's okay. And then we're running interference, and then Mira, the moment you're given the signal, we take off and we book it out of here.
Yeah. Q3PO can help me with the ship and make sure everything runs well. It'll be nice to have a second set of hands on that, actually.
But also probably have him keep an eye out if you've got to be in the belly of the ship. Make sure no one's sneaking up.
Oh, good call, yeah. And are you going to try and deactivate some of the probe droids while you're on the ship? Okay.
Yes, the idea, get in, set off some explosives, deactivate probe droids. Hopefully make sure that the alarm gets pulled so that everyone starts making their way to the boats. You'll be waiting with the probe droids down so they won't be able to stop you.
If it comes down to a choice, don't worry about the probe droids. All right, I'll give them a hard reset.
Alright.
Yeah, we got Snipe Team 6 here.
I'm really scared. What if this doesn't work the way that we want it to work?
I think we should go in knowing that it might not, but that I think we can make it out anyways, because we're pretty good at improvisation. We're crafty.
And we all made it out last time, and this time we had a full 48 hours to plan. So
True. And we got to nap and bathe first. I think...
Just be careful, please. Laura, you're gonna play by yourself.
Yeah. I can... Yeah, we'll be good. We're gonna make it out, and we're gonna... And this time when we travel, we can have an actual ship to be in. All together, ready to go. And...
Right.
Yeah.
Group hug?
Group hug! Yeah, at that, Vilra, I think you see like some light brought back to her eyes to be like, yes! And like, immediately.
Oh, touching. Let this.
Ren stands there
Sorry.
awkwardly, not part of the hug. She's like,
I grab her and pull her in.
I was going to say Ren has to be a part of the hug.
Yeah.
Also, I think Vilra would be a little bit slower with Jila, knowing their aversion to hugs, but at the same time being like, I desperately want this. I respect boundaries, but like,
Oh. Let's do it. Ooh.
Yeah.
You separate
Let's
off for
do
a
it.
moment. Dale motions over Vilwer for a moment. 2 Pint can obviously hover over, knowing that 2 Pint's going to go with Dale. Geely, you can see Q3PO up in the ramp, and then of course you can see 2 Pint off to the side if you have anything else to confirm with 2 Pint. But it leaves essentially just for a moment Ren and Tanal at the bottom of the ramp.
I think the only thing I would do, because we're going on this ship and we're walking with rifles, I'm going to disassemble them and put them in like the bottom of a duffel bag underneath a bunch of fishing gear.
Yeah, good idea. Excellent. And so the two sisters have just a moment as everybody starts to form up and separate into their groups.
So what did you expect when you landed here? Because I guarantee it was not this.
No, it definitely was not. Here I was expecting to be the hero who swooped in and saved all of you, and it seems the opposite is true.
Come on, you should know better by now.
I'm learning.
So after we get out of here, I feel like your military career is going to be a little bit screwed. What's next?
Well, it has taken me years to realize this, but my loyalty was to the Republic, not to the Empire.
Oh, what's that? Sorry, okay, could I get that in recording?
Not if it's going to be held against me, no. But I'm with you. My loyalty is first and foremost to you and to our family.
I know.
So I'm going to get you out of here, and I'm going to get them out of here as best I can. And then we'll see about your little foolish crusade after that.
Who are you calling foolish? I think we've been pretty successful so far. Got a solid track record.
I suppose we'll see.
Maybe not in terms of leaving things not blown up, but in terms of getting everybody out alive. We've been pretty good.
That is important. All right.
I wouldn't be a good sister if I didn't say I told you so, but...
You're a very good sister.
Yeah, you're not so bad yourself.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah. Anything.
And Ren kind of suspiciously looks over at this Dale character. A Jedi.
Yeah. It's been weird.
And he is teaching Vilra?
Starting to, I think. We've only been here a few days. And it doesn't really feel like... I don't know. I think he doesn't really know what to make of her, and she doesn't really know what to make of herself right now.
There is too much to say. But the Jedi were very, very dangerous. And we should get Vilra away from that man as soon as possible.
I knew they were powerful, but...
I'll tell you everything.
Dangerous.
Assuming that we make it off this rock, this frozen wasteland alive.
It is pretty frigid.
But you saw what Vilra did. That's just a small...
Saved Gila's life.
But at what cost? I'll explain more later.
Alright.
First, we have to protect everybody and get off this rock alive. That's your specialty, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
So we will be finishing this conversation, because you're not just leaving it there.
No, of course not. And during this, Ren has been, like, setting aside the Imperial uniform, which is covered in her own blood and, like, torn and messed up. And I'm just wearing normal kind of clothes. And I'll put the coat back on to cover up the droid arm.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And she at first puts the clothes in like a little neat little pile as best she can.
We should burn those. Can we burn those, actually?
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Yep, you can.
Cool.
Gila, do you have anything else to confirm with Two Pint before Two Pint and Dale get ready to leave?
Yeah, I was gonna go find Two Pint.
Yeah.
2 Pint, can I need a favor from you?
Yes.
Please.
Anything. Absolutely anything ever, forever. What?
As it stands right now, you are apparently very important to my mother, and that makes you in this moment the closest thing I have to sibling. And like pulls out her camera. I need you to make a copy of this in case anything happens.
Okay.
I'm
Absolutely.
gonna upload it to your memory core, just in case anything happens.
Got it. Yes, I will. And Gila, I hope you know it's hard for droids to understand what siblingship means, but I count you as one as well.
Been mostly an only child, so that means a lot.
Well, we're gonna make it out, and then you're gonna have a brilliant story to tell in the brilliant way that only you can. And your pictures will be there, and every big newspaper in the world will be fighting for your story. If you want it, or I don't know, or maybe whatever, I don't know. You're good at what you do, and you're gonna keep doing it because we're all gonna make it out.
Kind of fiddles with her fingers for a moment, then goes in to give you a hug.
Give you a hug back, little droid arms wrap around, and you know, I'd be remiss. I know I just said everything's gonna be fine and we are gonna make it out, but if I don't come back, please be nice to Q3. He's a little bit rude, but he's doing his best. You know, he's been through a lot today. He didn't start the day out knowing he was gonna be having legs and on the run, and here he is. So, you know, it's a lot to process, even at droid processing speeds.
Okay, so
Okay.
you know, I will try.
Okay.
Because you've asked, I will try. I will not
Thank you.
actively be mean to him.
I think you could be a little mean. I feel like Q3
Okay,
is
well,
the
mean.
kind of person who likes a little bit of meanness back, kind of a bantery situation, but just don't throw him off the ship or something. I don't know. You'll figure it out.
Oh. Okay, well, hopefully that won't happen, and then you'll stay alive, and then we can throw him off the ship. But, yeah.
Wait, that was a joke?
Yes, it's a joke.
I heard you make one earlier, and I didn't get to say it. Look at you. You're very funny.
Yeah, Tanal's rubbing off me. High five.
High five! Whoa! Who are you? Oh, okay. And,
Okay. Love you.
Love you. If it's possible for a droid's voice to catch and choke up, 2 Pints does a little bit.
And as the sisters have a moment at the bottom of the ramp, and as Gila comes over to 2 Pint and provides a copy of a data chit, Dale comes over to Vilra and just looks at you and gives you a nod, and he says, you can fly this thing?
Yeah. What, like it's hard? I mean, yeah, I can. I'm really good at stuff like that.
Yeah, I bet you are. And we didn't have much time to talk last night. But do you feel focused today on what you need to do?
I think so. I'm a little distracted. I'm scared, but confident. We all know what we're going to do. We're all good at what we're doing. And I refuse to accept failure on this. Because, yeah.
He nods. My apprentice had a very similar attitude, that They weren't afraid to try. And they weren't afraid to fail.
I'm afraid to fail a little bit, but I'm not afraid to try.
Failure's how we learn.
Mm-hmm.
And failure's not just how we learn to do it better next time. Failure's how we learn to control how we feel when we fail, so that we can be as calm as possible the next time we try. It's difficult, I know, and sometimes doesn't make a lot of sense, I know. But your presence and your focus will give you strength, and you're going to need that strength for whatever comes after this.
Yeah. Are you going to come with us?
He looks at you
Have
for a
you
moment.
thought about what you're going to do after this?
This is the second time I've had a conversation with Azah about leaving Fest.
Yeah, except for I'm not going to make you do it or try to tell you you're bad for not doing it. It's up to you, bud.
I don't know, the first Zah said that something bad was coming, and she was right, and
It was
Now-
me. Just kidding.
now the second Zah is telling me that something bad is coming.
Listen, it's your life. Do what you want to do. Do what feels good or right or fun or exciting.
When I
Not everything is about this weird sense of duty. Sometimes you can be a little selfish.
sent away Munich, I thought that by staying, the best way that I could help, the best way that I could still fulfill the tenets and the oaths that I swore, was to protect the people here. And there could still be backlash after, if we are successful at what we think we're going to do today. They could still be in danger. They could still have a lot of need. And so I could go, and I could teach you, if that's something that you want. But the choice that I'm making is that I'm leaving the denizens of Somber to their fate here, and helping you discover your fate out there.
I mean, that's so black and white. And also, there's more than just the two choices. You could just stay and be a guy. You're not responsible for this entire settlement. And you gotta stop thinking like that. Because you swore an oath. Okay. You still have to live your life. I mean, what are you gonna do? Be responsible for every living creature that you come in contact with? And feel like you have to yeah, you're helping these people, and that's really great. And if you want to stay and help them in the aftermath, because we will succeed, I think that's a good, normal, living being thing to do. Do it because you want to, not because you have a oath. Do it because you know that's the right thing. Do it because your heart tells you to do that. And if you want to come with me and you want to, if your goal is to train me to be like you, I don't want you to come with us.
You could have stayed on your homeworld and just been a mechanic, right?
No, because my homeworld got erupted. I could have, I guess. But you're a good person. I don't know what you are as a Jedi, but you're a good person. Maybe try doing that. Sorry if this is mean. I have a lot of weird energy.
He
I'm
looks
also
at
not
you.
that sorry.
He looks at you and he says, Jedi are, the first time a Jedi Master receives their first apprentice, they're reminded that part of being a good teacher is still being open to learn, and that every apprentice has something they're going to teach their master. And so, you being here, your friends being here, was a reminder of that, something that I hadn't thought about for a long, long time. And so I haven't thought about making a choice for what I want, because I've been thinking about what needs to be done. And no, I don't want to teach you to be like me. That's not the intent of what the Order established by pairing an apprentice and a master. The intent was to ensure that the individual didn't succumb to their desires and risk being corrupted by that. Yes, I can understand the importance of doing what is important for yourself. But you have to understand that the power within us and the responsibility that we carry with that power means that we have to think about what is best for those around us and not just what will be best for ourselves. If we put ourselves first, if we allow ourselves the indulgence of choice, or call it selfishness, it can feel good in the moment, but what is the consequence of that? If we don't act, and no, it's not a requirement to, it's a belief, it's a ethos, if you want to call it. What are the consequences of not acting? And how does that make us feel? Because if we become hardened or indifferent to the suffering of others, that's the tug of the dark side. And it's a slippery slope, Filra. And the longer you follow your own heart, or satisfy your own desires, it's easier to become indifferent to those around you. It is a terrible, terrible choice, but it is also a great responsibility. And it is not fair for you to try to live up to an ideal of a time that came before and that you were never given a choice to partake in. And I'm sorry for that. And your words are not mean or hurtful. Your words are true, just as my words to you back are true. And I just want to make sure that you're aware of the risks and how you felt yesterday here in the Bay, and your reaction to that afterwards, and what you asked of me. That's sometimes the path that some Jedi take when they turn away from the Force, when they turn away from their responsibility. They deny it. But as we talked about, it's still going to be there inside you, and it's still going to be there tempting you with how to choose the easy path. And
yeah, I mean, I want to help my friends. I want to find my family. I want people to choose the things that are good for them and help their community without being, I want to stop this crazy crap from happening so that people can live their life. If you want to be a fisherman on a frozen, awful planet that is so cold, you should be able to do that without someone poisoning your water. Even though I don't understand why you want to live somewhere so cold, whatever. But that's your choice. You should be able to do that freely, comfortably. Feed your family, live your life, fall in love. That's what I want to. It's why I want to help these people. And I don't, and I don't want to use the force to do it, but I will, I guess, if I need to. But I don't. It's weird and freaky, and it takes over. It feels like a really warm blanket that just gets heavier and heavier, and then you can't breathe.
I haven't heard that analogy, but it's pretty good.
Thank you.
And the heavier it gets, the easier it is to succumb to the warmth and succumb to inaction and to stay safe and warm.
Well, kind of. Yeah, or accidentally kill a guy. But it wasn't an accident. I meant to do that.
I know you did. It's gonna be a dangerous time for you in the days ahead, and I'm sorry to have to leave you with that message. But all I want to do is just give you the awareness to know. Rely on the strength of your friends. They will be there to help make it easier. But as I said, just try and remember to stay as calm as you can, as often as you can, because that will give you strength as well. An inner strength that isn't there normally.
I'll try. I'm going to tell you right now, I've never been calm. I mean, you could ask literally anyone, and they'll say that's not a thing I can do. But, I'll I don't know, do that meditation thing, like close my eyes and focus or whatever.
We're not taught
to calm.
Yeah, we're not taught to ignore our emotions, but just to understand the impact they have and how it can inflate or amplify that power.
Yeah.
But I have faith in you, Avelra. I believe in you. I think just as your mother understood the terrible responsibility that she had taken on, you've now had to take on this terrible responsibility as well. And I told Tanal that your whole life you've been walking around with a blindfold on, and that blindfold has slipped off, and it can never be tied back on again. You can never stop seeing what you've seen and feeling what you feel, and the force is strong with you, and it's going to get stronger if you continue to embrace it. But that's going to make you, as I said before, a beacon in the night to those that know where to look. And so I just want you to be prepared for the challenges that lie ahead.
I will do my best to be mindful. I can't promise anything. And if you get some weird news reports that some strange Itachi girl with a wrench lost her mind, please think kindly of me.
Well, that's when I'll definitely be leaving the planet in search of Azah.
Yeah, we're pretty cool. Except for I'll still have some beef with my mom about leaving in the first place, but I think that's a therapy bridge I'll cross later.
Good luck with the ship.
Thank you. Good luck on the rig. Please try to live. You seem like the kind of guy that would jump in front of a bullet. I mean, like a good way, but also in like a we get it, you're a hero kind of way.
Actually, you don't have to jump in front of it. You can actually just turn it away. He says with your tool. But
you can do that?
Unfortunately,
like she says it a little too loud. Like I think everyone just heard her say you can do that.
Yeah. But we don't have time for that today.
So why was that not lesson number 1? Okay. The shield thing that we talked about. Okay, got it. Good God. Okay.
He puts a hand on your shoulder and he looks at you one more time and he says, "Be ready. Your friends might need you quickly when the time comes."
Oh, I'll be there. I'm not leaving without them.
And thank you for challenging me. and for making me remember why I wanted to stay and help these people in the first place.
Good. I'm glad. All right, and then she hugs him.
He stiffens for a moment at the hug.
Yeah.
Someone who has not had physical contact in many, many, many years. And then he gives you a gentle but kind embrace in return. And he says,
I mean, Vilra hugs last a good 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
She is a hugger, so.
And then he just whispers in your ear. He says, "May the Force be with you." And then he breaks the embrace, gives you that hand on the shoulder, looks to Two Pint, nods, and goes to head back out of the bay. And as he goes to do that, and as everybody has finished their conversations, and as the light is just starting to turn from that dark, gray of night to the light gray of dawn with a little bit of a tint, but there's a lot of cloud cover. And even though it's been snowing, the snow is still coming down, not quite as heavy as it was last night. But then you pause, and you can hear in the distance, you can hear thunder. And it sounds like there might be a storm coming. But then it gets louder, as if the thunder's getting closer. And above you, the thunder turns into the groaning, creaking sound of metal. And through the overcast clouds, you start to see lights appear, and you can see a shadow of a triangular-shaped hull as an Imperial Star Destroyer has descended through the atmosphere, the hull creaking and groaning in response to the cold air as it descends down. Lights piercing through the crowd, and you can just make out the shape of the hull as the Imperial Star Destroyer Relentless has arrived at Fest and sits above the settlement of Somber. And we're going to pause, and we're going to take a break and let everyone catch their breath, and then we're going to return for this, the finale of Quadrilateral Frostfall, a Star Wars actual play. And welcome back to Quadrilateral Frostfall. Dale takes Two Pint away from the landing bay and into the streets. There are people in the streets, Two Pint, even a short time after you and Q3PO had returned to the bay, as people are leaving their homesteads to head to the dock to board the vessel to be taken out to the hydrocarbon rig out in the bay. And as you get closer, as you walk down the main lane that was smooth snow with just that single trough of snowtrooper patrol, you can see all of the people are sort of shuffling in that direction, and it's a very small crowd relative to the number of people that be on the streets normally, as everybody's heading to that are working the day shift are heading to that. And there are two boats, because they're doing double shifts, and so they're doing double crews. And there's two boats that have just landed, and there's a whole bunch of roughnecks disembarking from the boats, coming ashore, having finished the night shift. And people are looking up skyward. They're looking up, and they're looking up at the cloud cover, where it's just starting to shift, and that tint of morning light's coming in, and you can just make out this shadow, this triangular hulled shadow of a massive capital ship. Lights on the hull piercing down through the cloud cover. The ship's obscured, but it's still there and you can see it. And people are pointing and whispering and looking up at it, and the Imperial troopers are like just motioning everybody to hurry up, to get down to the dock, to get away from the dock, to get back home. Curfew's still in effect. And there are multiple pairs of snowtroopers on the streets as you get closer and closer to the docks, and there's additional trooper patrols at the docks as well. And Jila and Vilra and Tanal, as you exit the bay, wait for your moment, and then kind of get across the street, and then you're just starting to hear the voices and to see the first of the roughnecks who have exited the boats are coming ashore. And so you can kind of mingle yourself in with that crowd as you make your way down to the civilian docks, to the fishing vessels, to where the fishermen are. And as Dale takes Two Pint to the security checkpoint leading to the docks, goes up, talks to the snowtrooper, gets through the checkpoint, shows his badge. They know who he is. They know Rick's the foreman, and so Rick's the foreman is able to get on the boat with no problems, and a Imperial branded maintenance droid hovers alongside and gets on the boat with him. And there's an Imperial officer with a data pad and checking things off and talking to the troopers. There are snowtroopers that have pulled aside and sequestered away a pair of roughnecks who are arguing, and they're saying, "You're not on the list. No work pass. You're not getting in the boat. Curfew's in effect. Go back home." And they're arguing and they're insisting that they are part of the crew to be on there. The pass should be working. It's something's missing with it. And they are really checking everyone's badges and IDs to make sure that only the active roughnecks that are on the list get on. Rix looks at 2 Pint for a moment. Rix, the foreman, looks at you and says, "Okay, just stay here." And he goes back up. And now there's roughnecks coming on the boat, 2 Pint, and so it's a little bit crowded. You can't see everything all the way. But you can hear Rix's voice as he's talking to the lieutenant with the troopers, with the 2 roughnecks who can't get on. And the lieutenant and Rix are arguing, and he's saying, "They're not on the list. Their passes aren't valid. I don't care if they're recent arrivals, or I don't care if they've been on for the full season. My orders are clear. Only people with the passes get on." And Rix says to him, and you can't quite see them, 2 Pint, but you can certainly hear them with all the commotion, and the other roughnecks on the boats are just kind of talking in hushed tones or glancing up and talking about the capital ship that's appeared. And Rix says, "You don't want to be the one that has to tell the captain why you didn't meet quota today because there wasn't enough roughnecks." And curiously, 2 Pint, the lieutenant says, "Well, I don't want to be the one that has to tell the captain why we didn't meet quota because we didn't get all the workers on board." And Rick says, "And you don't want to be the one that has to explain why you left perfectly good workers on the shore, and then there's an investigation into your squad's behavior." And he says back to Rix, "Well, I don't want to be the one to have to explain to the captain why I left workers on shore, and I don't want to have to find out. I don't want my squad to get investigated." And Rick says, "You should get all the workers on the boat right now." And Lieutenant says, "I want all these workers on the boat right now." And he starts ordering the troopers. And the 2 roughnecks get on the boat with everybody else. And then Rix comes back in and gets next to 2 Pint and just kind of waits. And then without much delay, as soon as the boats are loaded, the 2 boats head off. Repulsor watercraft over the bay. The waves are a bit rough, so the repulsor craft actually still ride the crest of the waves as they go. And you're heading out 2 Pint, out towards the old Republic science platform that was sitting in the bay, and the much larger Imperial hydrocarbon rig that dwarfs the science platform, rising up all the way into the bay, the massive communications array on the top of it pointing skyward, pointing directly towards the now shadowed hull of an Imperial Star Destroyer that sits over top, and you're heading out across the bay with the workers. And as Gila and Vilra and Tanal get down to the civilian docks, the crews are getting ready for their morning fish. You see a few familiar faces, some of the captains and some of the families that you've already met, but you see some new ones as well. And it doesn't take you long to figure out that some of the experienced captains are sick from the poisoned fish that they ate in the last day, and so not all of them that you were hoping to trust to pilot the craft to go are able to do that today. And so some of them are still there, but some of them aren't, and some of them are relying on their first mates, some of them are relying on their brothers or their sisters or their child, their oldest child who's old enough to run the boat. And so there's some younger or less experienced people that are having to run the boats these days. And you quickly sort this out and realize that some people are staying behind. You can see some of the captains that are still sick. They've got blankets wrapped around them. They're coughing. They're pale in the face, right? They've got just horrible poisoning from the fish, and so they just can't go. They just can't go out the boat. They can't function like that. But you can connect with them. The ones that you know, the ones you've spoken with, the ones that Dale said are sympathetic. And if there's anything that you want to say or explain what it is that you're looking for them to do. You'd positioned this once before, and they said, yes, we'll be there when you need us, but now it's day of. And they've been waiting for you to come and tell them day of, and now it's suddenly day of. but you've got some new, younger, less experienced captains on those boats.
Okay. So this isn't ideal, but we'll make it work. If I could get everyone's attention, please. Right here. Hi. Okay. So, you all have agreed to be here for the things that we are here for. And some of you are new, and that's okay. We're all kind of new right now. There's going to be a moment where something's going to happen, and you will know instinctively what to do. There are people who are going to need us, and there are fish that'll need to be caught. God, I hope I am. Am I making myself clear?
They all nod, and they say, we need to get the boats as close to the pylons as we can.
Yes. When the moment comes, we need to act fast. We need to move quickly.
But what happens, because the Empire patrols the water, the Empire doesn't permit any of the fishing vessels to get within range of the rig.
We've got a plan for that.
We
When the
do.
time comes, there shouldn't be too many of them floating around. And if there are, well, we'll take care of it.
Gila, if you... Go ahead.
Oh, exactly what my associate said. We've got it.
Gila, if you like to make a persuasion roll under your perception for all the captains and their crews to convince them that there is a plan and that they can be confident.
Okay, where is persuasion at?
It's under perception, I believe.
Okay, I don't have persuasion, so I would just make a general perception roll.
Yeah. Remember, you can roll, check your total, then add a character point to that if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to add a character point to it.
Do your roll first, see if your wild die explodes, and then you can save the character point unless you feel you need it before we see how convincing it is.
Explode. 6, 8, 12, 20. 24.
Okay. They're really unsure. They're nervous. They're looking at each other. Some of the more experienced captains are nodding along with Gila and nodding along with Tanal, but some of the younger ones. But then as Gila finishes her speech and as Tanal reassures everybody that there's a plan, the younger ones seem to get in line. They get excited, and there seems to be a little bit of that youthful enthusiasm about, yeah, let's stick it to the Empire as opposed to just being pushed around for a change. And some of them will go and give their sick parents a hug, and then they all get the crews and they all start to get onto the boats. And so there's multiple boats, but you guys can decide where you're going and what your if you're pairing up or going to individual boats, whatever your choice is.
I'm definitely staying in the same boat as Gila.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ran, are you going on the same boat too, or are you going to go on a different boat?
What do you two think?
Up to you.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sticking
an
with
officer.
I'm sticking with my sister this time. We'll go in the same boat.
Yeah, you bet.
Last time, this is how we got separated. We're going to
What,
stay
you wanna
together
check
this
my
time.
Okay.
You want to check my
I-
work? Okay.
I also am going to communicate to the captains the frequency that we are all operating on, so comms are all linked, so everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, you can do that, absolutely, and they can all update they've got comm links in their on the bridge of their ships, and so they can set those things so that they're all talking to each other, and they start doing that, and they start talking in the same way that they would be coordinating for a major fish or a major trapping run. In this case, they're like, no, I'm gonna head out to the coordinates here. I'm gonna go past the point here and circle around, and I'm gonna go, and so they're already starting to coordinate who's gonna approach from which direction and why. Let's split them off. Let's get them so they can't bulk us in together, and we're gonna make them peel off and choose which way to go. So they start talking, as captains do, about how to coordinate the fleet movement as they get onto the water. And all the repulsors start up and all the fishing vessels start up. with their big heavy motors needing to power the winches for the traps and the engines for the vessel. And then they all start heading out into the water, and then you get that spray and that smell of the sea air as you leave the shore behind and you start heading out. And far off in the distance, across the bay, you can see from where the Imperial dock was, and you can see the roughneck boats also heading on. They're ahead of you. They've already departed, heading out, carrying Dale and Two Pint towards the rig.
As we're going out at some point, just kind of probably like sitting on one of the ships, watching sort of the waterscape go by, I think that Tanal will look over at Gila and kind of nod towards their camera and say, "Hey, can I borrow that for a second?"
Oh, yeah, sure. Whatever you want.
Cool. And we'll kind of like looking out at first at all of the ice and the snowy mountains in the distance, but then we'll, in a moment where she thinks that Gila's not looking, we'll turn it back towards them and try to get like one nice shot of just without the rig in the background, but try to angle it so it's just them on the water. Just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Okay.
Are you using it for reconnaissance?
yeah, you could say that.
Okay, I'm gonna keep looking at these maps, make sure that everybody's on foot. Please keep the line clear!
Heading out in the water, Tanal, Gila had brought a big, oversized fishing bag of gear, and then all of the rifles and everything was inside that. So you can open that up and start assembling that and start getting all of your gear and weapons dispersed and handed out and ready to go. And the fishermen look at that, and they're obviously that's new for them because some of them carry blaster pistols just for small needs and for any kind of problems at the docks, but. Because blaster pistols aren't restricted, but rifles certainly are, and the cycler rifle is certainly not something that they've seen before as well. As you pull that one out, with its like leather sand wrappings and all of its extra trappings that it has on there as well, which looks very different from the usual weapons you'd see in Somber.
You boys jealous?
And they nod a little bit, and one of them speaks up and says that he's gone hunting on the tundra with his father, but not with anything like that.
Don't worry about it. I'm sure your stuff will be fine. It's not about the size, right? It's about how you use it.
And as you finish getting the gear out, Tanal, you see that there is a recording rod in the bag. Could be one of Gila's, you're not sure, but it's got a little indicator light on it that indicates there's a message on it.
Finish putting my rifle together and then just really quickly like find something to play it on.
You can slot it into a data pad, and then it will
Yeah.
it'll play with a little audio through that.
Mm-hmm.
And as you turn it on, Tanal, what do they hear? Or Vilra, sorry, I apologize. What do they hear?
I don't hear anything. That's only meant for if something bad happens.
Oh.
But
I thought you were leaving it. I thought you were giving it to them in advance. Maybe I misunderstood.
oh yeah, no. That's only if something bad happens.
Oh, all right then. My
Sorry.
mistake. My mistake.
And then
I didn't
think,
label it properly.
Weird, and I put that in my pocket.
It's fair. That's fair.
It says like from Vilra for later.
Oh, okay. Fair enough then. All right. Fair enough then.
Fair enough.
That's totally fine. Two Pint, the Roughneck ships arrive under the massive rig. The pylons are huge. You can see Two Pint hatches in the pylons just above the water level. So Dale had talked about how there's an evacuation point in the pylons that can be used, and you can see that. And that's also how they load everybody up off the vessel, so they don't use turbo lifts, and there's no repulsor sleds or anything come down. Everybody has to pull up, and you hop off the bobbing watercraft as it sits on the hovering on the bay, and everybody hops up onto a platform at the water level, and then you quickly go up and start climbing up, and there's like just a really tight circular stairwell that goes all the way up inside one of the pylon legs, all the way up to the top, and that's where you disembark, and that's where you start to climb up. And it takes a little while to go up 6-7 stories of stairs to get up to the 5 stories of rig above. It's loud. The rig is moving. The drill is moving right now, and so there's the sound of the drill and all of the machinery that you pass through, all of the engineering and all of the mechanical structure as you go. And Dale keeps taking you up higher and higher. And Dale looks at you and he just kind of nods and points to various stairwells and access points, kind of indicating that this is where we're going to funnel everybody in. This is how we're going to get them down. Keeps going up the stairs. Up, there's like some operations halls and rooms where there's obviously some pieces for that, and presumably there's like an operations center or a bridge or some type of similar structure on that. There are Imperial snowtroopers stationed at checkpoints to the more secure areas, not down below in the guts, but higher up in the operations center side. The Dale keeps bypassing all of that and takes you right up to the top of the rig, right up to the surface, through the top hatch, gets to the door, and now you're standing on top of this massive rig out in the middle of the bay, wind blowing, cold air, the waves choppy below. There's sort of almost 2 sets of sort of outbuildings and sort of structures on the sort of the sides of the rig on a couple different sides, and then there's a big massive open area in the center, big enough for a cargo shuttle to come in, and it is filled, 2-Pint, with hydrocarbon barrels, stacked and waiting for pickup. Dale nods to everybody. Rick's the foreman, gives some orders to everybody, starts telling everybody where he goes. And he points to 2 or 3 different sort of crew leaders, and he says, "Wait for me over there." And then he comes back over to 2-Pint, and he says, "I'm going to start slowly and then faster, getting as many of them downstairs, down past the mechanical room, down into the leg, so they're as far away from the pickup platform as we can make them be. If I go too quickly, the Empire's going to want to know why everyone's abandoning their posts."
Right.
How much time do you need to rig this?
Well, how long do you think do you reckon it'll take ships to get within range once the droids are down?
I think it's all going to happen very quickly. And the boats can get here in very short time. They just have to be able to get past the probe droids to do it. And I'm gonna give them a flare gun, and they're gonna use a flare gun to signal the boats when they hit the bottom of the pylon and they're ready for pickup.
All right, so I can work really quickly. So however long you need to get the most people out, that's how long it'll take. I can get most of the droids deactivated and then start the evacuation process, and then we explode it. I'm quick, so my main concern here is making sure as many organics get out of here as possible, and then we'll worry about the rest.
Stay out of sight as best you can. Any of the officers or other crew leaders see you, they won't know that you're not out of a place, and that they won't try and send you back downstairs.
Right.
And he nods to you, and then he gets up and he goes to the 3 crew leaders, and he goes over and he starts talking to them quietly and seems to be giving them instructions. And you can see that he pulls out a flare gun and he hands it to one of them as well as he starts talking to them as well. So 2-Pint, you can take stock. There's just row after row after row of these hydrocarbon pallets that have been double stacked and that are all ready for pickup.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell me if you're going to make a demolitions roll to determine what you can rig up to start getting this ready to go, or if there's something else you want to do first before you do that.
I think the first thing I want to do is Well, wait. Okay. I think Two Pine's plan is this: is going to see what they will need to do to start an explosion. Once they know that, then go and work on deactivating the droids so the ships can come. Then go back and explode it.
Okay.
And trigger the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make a demolitions roll for me. This isn't even setting it up. This is just you assessing what you think is going to be the most effective way to wire these barrels together.
Demolition as a skill. Oh gosh, there's no room on my desk. Okay, here we go. Okay, no explosion, but not bad. That is 4, 8, 12, 15, 18.
It's pretty good. What you know is that if you even just rig every other pallet with an electrical charge, something to ignite the oil inside, and spread them out enough so that enough of the pallets, separated from each other, go up and then catch the other pallets between them to make them go up as well, then you don't have to try and rig up too much. But it's still going to take a bit of time and be a bit dangerous because you're going to have to bob and weave between the pallets as crewmen and workers come by, as Imperial snowtroopers come by. You can hear the sounds of Imperial voices giving orders on the platform.
Give me regular reports, please.
So you know that's the prep that you're going to have to do. But before you do that, you're going to go and see if you can affect the probe droids. You're going to have to find an access point, 2 Pint. Or you're going to have to get your way inside the operations center. What would you rather do?
I think a droid going and just finding a port is going to be so much less suspicious than a droid going into the control center.
Okay.
So I think I'm just going to find a port.
Roll your search for me to find a access port for your Scomp link so that you can connect to the rig.
I exploded on search. Okay, well, we'll take it. So hold on. That's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I exploded again. This is the worst thing to explode on. 16 plus 6, whatever that is, plus 4. So 26.
Okay. What you're able to find with such a good roll is that you're able to find a Scomp link actually higher up on the wall. There's like a tiny catwalk on the exterior of the building. Again, just designed for basic maintenance and to get the crew around, but it's not a normal traveling path, so there's no one else up there. No one's walking up there, and it gives you actually a bit of a vantage point of the platform below, all the pallets of the drums, and all of the other movement of the crew and the Imperials. So you can actually get up there and Scomp link in there for that. Go ahead, connect, roll your computer programming repair to slice your way into the operations system.
Okay. Let's do this. No explosion, no complication. 10, 15, 20, 23, 25, 27.
27 with no complication. You're inside the Imperial Network 2 Pint. And you start looking for the protocols and the command prompts for the probe droid system.
Alright.
The fishing vessels have all separated on the bay. They're all circling around and getting closer. Gila's commanded everybody to keep the comms clear, and then the first message comes through after a bit of radio silence where somebody says, I can see one of the droids. And then a second ship comes in. I can see one of the droids. Tanal, roll your search with your macro binoculars, because I know you're scanning the water, looking for the Imperial probe droids that are protecting the bay, or protecting the rig on the bay.
Okay, let's do it. Search is perception, right?
Yes.
Okay. That plus my macro binoculars. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna roll so many dice. Okay, no explosions, but no complications either. That is gonna be 5, 10, 20.
Okay. you can see the first Imperial probe droid closest to your vessel, just ahead and slightly to the starboard.
Mm-hmm.
You know that it's rotating its dome, and it's doing its scans. You're at long range, so it's going to be a harder shot if you want to take a shot at it from here, or you can bring the vessel closer, knowing that it's going to draw the probe droid into you the moment it picks you up.
I'm gonna get on the comms really quick and just say, are we ready for things to get crazy? All right.
Can I tell Gila said be quiet, but yes.
You can use the comms if you're communicating information, but the chatter, boys, clear.
She's awesome. Anyway.
You like
All
it.
right.
But also, yes, I'm ready.
All right, let's light this firecracker. And we'll kind of turn to one of the captains and just nod toward the captain of whose boat I'm on and nod towards the probe droid and just say, bring us in. And start lining up my shot.
And instead of that drifting sort of side approach that they were taking, keeping to the normal distance that they're required to keep from the rig, the boat immediately veers in and starts to head towards the probe droid as it gets closer and closer. And the other boats in the distance, chime in saying, setting a course. And they all start to come in. They're all coming in at different angles towards the rig at the same time. The probe droid focuses in and then sees the boat approaching and starts to lower itself closer to the water and starts swooping in towards the boat.
Come on. Right down the barrel. And I will wait until it's within, medium range. And take a shot.
Okay. You go ahead and you take your shot. We're not rolling initiative for this because the probe droid's not expecting to get shot first. So you go ahead and take your shot, and it's just the range distance is the difficulty. So which in this case, it's going to be 16.
All right. Let's see. No complications, but no explosions either. That is going to be 10. What was the DC?
16.
Okay, I'm going to use a character point because I don't trust myself. That's exactly 16.
Okay. The sound...
Does that mean you rolled an explosion? Because remember, the character points explode.
No, I did not.
Good to know.
It was close, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cycler rifle doesn't sound like a blaster rifle. It doesn't have that hissing energy sound as it cuts through the air. It's a projectile weapon, and it fires a slug thrower at fires a slug at the probe droid. The echo is loud across the water, especially on those of you on the boat that hear it. This one has a little more kick than the rifle back on the farm. Go ahead and roll your damage, and I'm going to roll the strength for the probe droid to resist that damage.
Exploded. Okay, that is 12, 15, plus... Oh, I can't do math. Oh my god, I can't do math. 21 plus... Oh, okay, I just exploded again. Plus 6 is 27. Plus 2 is 29. This guy gets all the credit.
The probe droid explodes with a flash and a spark as the slug pierces right through its hull, and it just staggers in the air for a second and then just drops into the water.
And then I think kind of turning back towards the rest of the crew, but also yelling across the water, Tanal will just raise her voice and shout, "Light 'em up!"
The probe droids in the vicinity all start reacting to that. Some of them peel away from the boats that they were going to intercept and start moving closer towards your boat that you're on right now. That's creating a window for the other boats to engage their engines and start flashing across the surface of that. Two Pint, as you're in the system, an alert immediately goes up that one of the probe droids has immediately gone offline, and now they're starting to search and do commands for that. So there's already activity in the system, which will help you with that. What command are you going to try and give to the probe droids, knowing that the operations center is probably giving commands at the same time?
I want to confuse the location so they're not going to the ship that my friends are on. They're going in the opposite direction away from where the rescue will be happening.
Okay.
Like, far out, as
Okay.
far as they can go.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your computer programming repair.
Right. Good ASMR. Billions of dice. Didn't explode. No complications. And rolled pretty good. 10, 16, 19, 21, 25. Plus 2 is a 27.
27, and I'm rolling the computer programming repair for the Imperial technicians that are in the operations room right now, studying their own commands. The Imperial technician exploded.
No! But have you considered that I'm a droid and so therefore I'm better at everything?
You got it. You got a 27.
Yeah.
You got a 27. I got a 24, and I'm about to roll my wild die.
No, you're not though, and it's gonna be a 1. And
And my 24 turns into a 29.
Uh-oh.
oh. Okay.
They send a command for all units to converge on the missing unit. And so you try and get them to go off in opposite directions, and they don't. And right now the operations center commands are overriding that, and the probe droids are all being directed to the site of the destroyed one.
Okay.
Tanal, you see not 1, not 2, but 3 Imperial probe droids, all appearing from behind the pylons and from behind the legs of the rig, and they're all skimming across the water at very, very high speed towards your boat.
3-on-1. That's not very sporting.
Oh no, they're coming this way. We should do something about that.
Start blasting.
We're gonna roll initiative. So highest perception on your side versus the perception of the probe droids.
I think that's me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You go, babe.
Do I roll a
Sheila's
wild
the
die?
spotter.
Literally.
Oh boy. Math 18 plus 3 is 21.
You win initiative. You have a choice. You can act first, or you can react to what the probe droids do first.
Are we acting first?
Okay.
So we just shoot him? Is that am I holding the gun right? Oh god.
You're doing great. Yeah, pretty much.
So Gila's got a blaster pistol, or one of the blaster rifles.
I got a rifle.
Very good. Okay, so that gives you the range needed because they're still at long range at this point. So it's going to be that same stock DC of 16 if you're all going to take a shot at the droids. Remind me, Tanal, the range on the cycler rifle. What is the long range category on that? How many meters does it go out to?
Oh, I literally just had it open. Why did I disappear it? No. It's something crazy. 1 second.
I feel like it's as good or better than the blaster rifles almost.
It's definitely got to be. Yeah. Long range on it is 500.
Okay, yeah, it's even longer than that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ren, are you firing at the droids as well?
It depends. Did we give Ren a blaster rifle, or is someone else carrying that other rifle? Because I think there were 2 rifles.
There was 2 blaster rifles you salvaged from the bounty hunters.
Yeah,
Did
so
anyone
you
else
had-
grab that second one? Okay, then Ren has that one. So yes, I'm gonna fire at the probe droids.
Okay. Whoever wants to take the first shot can do so. Oh, sorry. We need to declare actions more accurately. How many actions are each of you taking on the boat?
Is taking cover considered an action?
Yes.
Then 2.
2.
2.
There you go. Okay. You guys are going first. What's the first action for each of you? Is the answer taking cover?
I'm shooting
Okay,
first.
so Ren, that's excellent
Yeah.
because Ren then obviously ducks down against the hull, and Ren, what that the mechanical effect of that is that it'll add, I roll extra dice to add cover to the difficulty number to hit you.
Yep.
But Tanal doesn't duck down. Tanal takes the shot. And
Nope.
and Gila, what are you doing with your first action? Are you taking cover or are you?
I'm not built like her. I'm taking cover first.
100%. So Ren and Gila both drop down, and Tanal is just standing tall with the cycler rifle, taking that shot.
Yep.
You go ahead.
Get him, babe.
It's the same 16 DC, but the probe droid's not
Okay.
going to rely on that. The probe droid is going to dodge as a
Okay.
reaction to your shot. So go ahead and roll your first slug thrower, remembering that you're minus 1d because you're taking 2 actions.
Okay. I exploded. Okay. That's. Oh my god. That's hard. This is so high. Okay. 10 plus 12, 22 plus 2, 24 to hit. I was ready to burn my character points too. I was like prepared.
You line up the cycler. It's hovering in. The probe droid's perfectly lined up, just like the last one. And there's just another report of the slug echoing out across the water. And the probe droid, in response, with the operations commands to be an alert, there's a missing probe droid, and respond, it's on alert and it's responding. And its wild die exploded on its dodge. And its wild die exploded a second time on its dodge. And its wild die exploded a third time on its
What?
dodge.
Whoa.
What? That's stupid.
And the
What?
droid, the probe droid, just does a little duck and hover, and then continues on its forward momentum. And Tanal's first shot misses. The probe droids have all declared their actions, but their first action is just movement. They are all moving to close the distance to the boat and to the last known location of the missing probe droid. Your second actions.
All right. Well, I'm going to fire at one of those, one of them there droids.
Okay. I'm gonna aim at the same one you're aiming at.
Okay. I'm going to see if this Roll20 dice thing works. Let's give this a shot.
Okay, little experiment. We've been using the physical dice for the entire campaign. Let's use the digital dice roller and see how it does.
Okay, so I clicked on it and it didn't actually go through. So let me try.
Because you might actually have to have something assigned to it, right? With a
Yeah, that might be. Okay.
yeah.
Hang on. Dice mods. I'm not sure what that means. All right, let's just go with it. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's situational modifications.
There you go.
Is there any situational stuff going
No,
on?
this
Do I
is
have
just-
a scope on my rifle or anything?
No, at this point, this is just pure range difficulty. But the droid's choosing to dodge because it doesn't want to rely on the range to.
All right, looks like I got a 24, which is pretty cool.
Roll your damage for your blaster rifle.
How much damage do these do again?
5d.
5d. Okay.
And Ren knows that Imperial probe droids are sturdy, and so I'm telling you this because the probe droids roll 4d on their strength.
Right. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. Can I add a character point to my damage?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I got a 15 then.
Okay. And I got a 16. So
I hit it, but it didn't.
Ren's
it didn't
shot,
harm
yeah,
it.
just picks off the surface of the droid. There's a spark and a flash, and the droid wobbles, was trying to dodge, and it just moved just enough just to avoid that kill shot. Gila, take your shot. Remember,
Thanks,
you're minus
Eric.
1d for your 2 actions.
Okay, and I'm just rolling the number for the rifle, right?
So you're rolling your blaster skill, if you have your blaster skill. If you don't, it's just your dexterity.
Okay. Explode.
And that it already rolled its dodge, so it's the same dodge roll that applied.
It's a really good dodge roll, too.
That is 16.
You hit the mark, Gila. Roll your damage. 5d. On
Oh my
the
god,
rifle.
I hit it!
You got it, babe.
sorry. It's 15 plus. That is 19.
You hit the droid square on. There's a flash and a spark. The droid's still flying towards you. The droid is now wounded. It's going to be minus 1d to anything else it does this round. They're all going to take their second actions as droids.
Wait, I still have my second action as well.
Tanal's going to take her second action first. Thank you.
Slay. I'm gonna try and finish that one off real quick.
Got it.
And fire again.
Got it. It's the same one. It's already rolled its dodge. Its dodge applies to all the
Right.
shots this round.
No complications, but also no explosions. That is gonna be a 19 to hit.
You hit. Roll your damage.
Well done.
Probe droid's already wounded. It's minus 1d to its strength, so I'm rolling one less dice
Cool.
to resist.
Oop, that exploded. That is 7, 8, 9, 15 plus. I exploded again. 21 plus 25.
Describe how Tanal uses her brand new cycler rifle to take down an Imperial probe droid.
Yeah, I think that she kind of like takes a moment to steady herself as the boat is like, you know, rocking on the waves. Like it took her like a minute to kind of figure out this rifle and figure out the terrain, but at the end of the day, honestly, shooting on a moving boat is kind of the same as shooting from the back of a moving thumper. So I think she takes a second to like find that piece, line up her shot with the spot where Gila already hit it, using that as kind of a target, and just blast this guy away.
Another probe droid staggers, flash, sparks, and then it just nosedives headfirst into the water and splooshes. Instead of 3 droids, there are now only 2. The 2 remaining droids are going to take their shots at a longer range, but they're going to attempt it anyway. They've already each had a reaction dodge, and they've already moved, so now they're going to be minus 2d to this shot. So unless they explode, it's going to be very difficult. They can't really see much because most of the crew is either hiding or hidden behind the things, but there's a single crewman holding a cycler rifle in plain view, and the first probe droid is going to try and shoot Tanal from the range that it's at. And so Tanal, you can do a dodge as a reaction, keeping in mind you've already taken 2 actions, so you're minus 1d. You'll be at minus 2d for this dodge by adding another action in, or you can rely on the range to protect you.
I am going to dodge because honestly, with my armor, that cancels out.
And
so
whatever
we're dodging, baby.
Whatever dodge you roll is going to apply to both the shots from the 2 probe droids.
Cool.
Can I react and knock Tanal down out of the way?
At this point, this is on the probe droid's action, so no.
Okay.
It's okay, sister. I'll be okay. No explosions.
If I'd known you were
also
just going to stand there. Anyway.
no explosions, but also no complications.
Yeah.
That is a total of 12, 14. What if they roll really bad?
2 probe droid shots fly over the hull of the boat, high enough up that they're not close enough to it, but they're still firing on the boat, and all the rest of the crew that are on the boat are all ducking down and taking cover, of course. In the distance behind the probe droids, now you can see boats converging on the pylons to get to the emergency escape hatch, because there's now a clear path because you've pulled all the probe droids to you. They missed the mark. That's the end of that piece. 2 Pint, you can see crewmen are starting to move away from their duty stations on the surface of the rig, and like in smaller groups, and seeming to all file into that same access point that you emerged from above the pylon, and they're all starting to head down as they're getting to that piece. And as that happens, 2 Pint, there is another sound as activity on the system goes into alert. So you see there's a security alert that immediately flashes up on the system. And the alarm goes off on the rig. And everybody starts scattering, and the snow troopers all start running to the edges of the platform to look down to see what's happening. Do you still want to send another command to the probe droids?
How how feasible is it in the system I'm in right now to send a evacuate order to the command center so hopefully the people controlling the probe droids just leave?
It's going to be it's probably going to be a DC-20 security role, or sorry, computer program repair role, because the system's now on alert. There's higher security on the system, and they're trained for this. They're trained to respond to security matters, because that's what the Imperials are here for. So yes, you can do that. You can override that and give an overall evacuation alarm for the entire rig, which would serve your purpose, but you have to bypass the heightened Imperial security. So roll your computer program repair, and you can decide 2 point if you're going to add a character point after your roll, of course, to get there. I'm giving you the DC in advance so that you know what you're up against. Or you can tell me if you're going to use a force point and double your dice pool for this round.
I think I want to save my force points.
Sure.
So
makes sense.
And I have some character points
'Kay.
back.
Roll
So
your...
if I need them. Okay. Let's see. So that's... I didn't explode, no complications. 10, 13, 15... 15... 19, so I'm rolling a character point. Okay, and I exploded on my character point. So that's 19 plus 6, so 25. Plus 5, I didn't explode again. For just a solid 30.
Okay.
Just a 30.
You're making Dale's job easier by sending out a rig-wide evacuation alert as everybody starts rushing for the escape pylon.
Okay.
And presumably chaos ensues in the operations center as the ranking officers are ordering everybody to their stations, even as the evacuation alert starts to go off. We're back up in the water. It's a new round. You have initiative. Are you going to act first again? And if you're going to act first again, tell me how many actions everybody's taking.
I think we are gonna react first, or we're gonna go first. And I'm only taking. Does talking to people, is that considered?
Unless you're doing a speech as like a broader conversation, but no, if you just need to shout out a command, no, you don't have to take an action for that.
Okay, then I'm only taking the one action.
Okay. Okay, Gila, what's your action?
I'm going. Is there still one more left there? Right.
Two.
There's still one more.
Two
more.
Two probe droids coming.
Okay, I'm gonna make a quick assessment and see which one looks a little bit more hurt, and I'm gonna aim for that one. Whichever one looks the worst for wear.
Yeah, these ones haven't been hit yet, so you're just going to choose which one you want to hit and go for it.
Okay. Then the first one I catch eyes on. The one on the left.
Sounds good. Take your shot.
Okay.
Probe droid is closer now. It's definitely going to rely on its dodge. Because it's close. It moved forward, so it closed the range.
$14.
14's going to hit. Roll your damage. 5D for the blaster rifle.
$16 points of damage.
Which does not beat the probe droid's 18 strength roll. So Gila hits the mark again, and just like Ren's shot, it just sparks off the side of the dome as it's just trying to get out of the way. That's Gila's shot. Ren?
I would like Tanal to go before I do.
Okay.
Okay.
You follow your sister's lead.
Sure. I'm just gonna take one action this time, and I'm gonna try to just shoot one of them.
Okay.
Oh my god, let's see.
The same one that Gila just shot at.
Yeah, why
Okay.
not? Let's
so
get that guy.
its dodge roll that it rolled already will apply to this shot as well for you.
No explosions, no complications. 10, 19, 21.
That's gonna hit. Roll your damage.
Rock on.
Another cycler shot rings out over the water.
I exploded. I'm having a good day. 10, 15, 21, 23.
Nice.
It's a long silence. I'm getting scared.
It's because the math is just yeah. So
Oh,
it's
the
where it is.
math.
It's just the math. So the slug hits the mark. Doesn't flash with the spark of an explosion, but absolutely lodges itself inside, causing a bit of lightning to erupt and a bit of disruption. You didn't kill it. You only incapacitated it, which means the droid is offline for 2D minutes. Sploosh, splash down as the droid goes down into the bay. Incapacitated is just as good in this case because there's nowhere for it to land.
Exactly.
There's one droid remaining, Ren.
Okay, so my action is to interpose myself between my sister and the droid.
Okay.
What are you're getting in the way of my shot.
That's the idea.
What are you doing?
Okay.
I cover my face with my metal hand, and I just like this.
All right.
Oh my god, you're an idiot. This was stupid when we did it as kids, and it's stupid now.
Okay. The probe droid is going to take the remaining probe droid is going to take its first action, which is going to be to fire. And it's a target-rich environment on the prow of the boat, as there's a bunch of organics standing there. Ren, are you going to dodge? Are you going to rely on the range to save you because you're holding still?
I'm going to rely on the range and the armor that I stripped off the bounty hunter to save me.
Yeah. And a shot from the probe droid smashes into the prow of the boat as the boat's still racing towards the rig. Sparks fly up over you and Tanal, but it hits the boat and doesn't hit you.
All right.
Did anybody take a second action this turn? You did. Okay, Ren,
Now I'm going to fire at it.
take your shot.
All right. So. Uh, 18. Let's see. Did we determine that wasn't going to be sufficient? Because I could spend a character point.
No, 18 will hit.
Okay.
Roll
great.
your damage.
Let's see. 19 damage.
Okay. Sparks fly off the probe droid. The probe droid is wounded. It's minus 1d to anything else it does. The evacuation alert goes off 2 Pint. People are running for the pylons. Imperial officers are standing on the command deck and they are giving orders and shouting. You can drop down. You can still stay up here, or you can drop down from this at this point and start to work on the demolition.
Am I able to see from all of the readings coming in that there's just one up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I'm going to trust my friends to handle it, and I'm going to go work on demolition.
Roll your demolition to start wiring up the pallets of the drums.
Fine. I rolled 3 6s. None of them on my wild die, but that is good still. So that's 12, 18, 20, 23.
Okay. You're rigging up each alternating pallets with an electrical charge to ignite the oil drums and to set them off.
As I do it, I just want to send a link on the comms, like, right, evacuation orders have been given. If you can get that one droid down, we're good to go. People are making their way out, and I'm about to blow it up. Viliura, be ready soon, probably. I don't know what's happening. Love you all.
Yeah, will do. I love you too.
Vilra, do you remember your startup sequence?
Always, yeah.
I want you to roll your starship piloting, your space transports piloting. Please enter your mechanical and get this freighter operational.
Okay.
You've been listening to the comm, you've been hearing the activity, hearing the action. Occasionally over the comm you can hear the sound of the weapons fire going off as someone's trying to yell a command at the same time.
So that is a 17 total. No explosions, no complications.
And so you do your startup sequence sitting in this now proper chair, not just the tight confined cockpit chair of the Republic dropship, but the full synthetic leather chair of a freighter captain, and start the ship.
I think she's trying to remember what Dale said and be calm, but it's like, okay, we have to admit this is really cool though. If a bunch of really dangerous stuff wasn't happening, I'd be so jazzed. And she's saying this out loud, and I don't know if Q3 can hear. She doesn't really care if he does.
Sure. And the engine sounds funny.
No. What?
And you can hear Q3PO in the back saying, those parts and tools are in a very specific order and should be left where you found them.
Yeah. Yes, that's yes. Why are you saying that?
And there's a problem with the engine, Vilra. It's not firing the engine.
Okay, yeah, I think she re-equips all tools. They might have been equipped anyways. Puts them on and he goes, "Come with me," or "Go watch. Make sure no one."
So Q3PO is not with you. Q3PO is in the back, and so Q3PO says the tools are in a specific order and should be left where you found them.
I guess she goes to see who he's saying that to. Who is he saying it to?
And Vilra, you go back down the gangway from the cockpit to the back of the freighter to the crew area. Q3PO is standing there in the crew area, and across from Q3PO, you see a man, Vilra, a man you have not seen before, but a man that you think you might understand based on a description given to you by Jila when Jila went to the depot and described a clone with a scarred lip pushing up his face, exposing some of his gums and teeth and scars on his face as he stands there holding a small compressor from the ship that has been removed, which he tosses off to one side, and in his other hand, as he twirls a throwing knife, and looks at you and says, "My brother said that it wouldn't be worth the payday, but I think this is going to be a pretty good payday." And he's got a heavy winter jacket on, and you can see some type of plating underneath the jacket, and he's got a bandolier with a bunch of blades hanging off of it.
"Can I help you, sir?"
Oh, it's going to be a lot of help. This ship is going to be a lot of help. See, Complex said that no, they were just going to sell the hyperdrive or sell the nav computer. But then I realized, no, that Imperial technician, that side project that she was talking about, it started to make more sense to me. And then I realized, you know what? Maybe they've got something going on. And I was right. Because, see, when that same technician went out into the crowds and started asking about an Imperial officer, yeah, some of those were my people, and they let me know that that's what they're doing. And I'm like, why would a technician need to ask where to find an Imperial officer? See, they would already know where to find the Imperial officers, but maybe they needed to find a specific officer that's gone missing. And so they tipped me off, and they keep us informed, and we keep them paid. And so, yeah, when we get that kind of information, we knew it was only a matter of time. And then the bounty hunters, well, they had a little bit of a dust up, and then suddenly they were gone. And our informants were telling us, yeah, the hunters are off the streets. We thought that doesn't make sense. They would have notified that they'd found the fugitives. And then I started thinking, where else could someone hide? Where else? And he twirls the knives again. Someone that no one goes. In the old landing bays. And sure enough, there's a ship here, ready to go. Now it's going to be our ship. So, I think what I'll do is I'll turn you in for the bounty, and then we'll decide if we're going to sell the ship or just sell the depot and hit the stars. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do.
Okay, I don't like the sound of your voice as much as you do. Q3, shoot him in the head.
We're going to roll initiative.
Yeah.
highest perception on your side. It's not going to be Q3 unless you tell me your perception is less than 2D.
It is not. It's
Okay.
higher than that.
You roll your perception, and I am rolling Cutter's perception for initiative.
Mine's 15.
Okay, you win initiative. Are you going to act first, or are you going to react to what Cutter does?
I'm going to react to what he does.
Okay. Cutter is going to throw a throwing knife directly at Q3PO. As Q3PO raises a blaster pistol. Sorry, we're going to declare actions. Cutter's going to take 2 actions. How many actions? Q3PO is going to declare 1 action, which is to shoot the blaster, which you told him to do. And how many actions is Vilver going to do?
2.
Okay.
I'm going to say 2.
Okay. Cutter's going to throw his throwing knife at the droid. Q3PO is going to dodge as a reaction. They've already declared 1 action, so they're going to be minus 1d to their dodge. They don't dodge. Throwing knife hits the mark. Let's roll strength plus the damage code for the throwing knife against Q3PO's strength code. Q3PO's strength dice exploded.
Yes. Yes. Is his strength higher because he has combat legs?
It is not. But his mobility is a hell of a lot better.
Okay. I would, you gotta shoot your shot.
Q3PO catches a throwing knife right into the photoreceptor. Cutter throws it with such speed and precision that it just flies across the crew area before you can even react to it, and doesn't drop the droid, but sparks fly out of his face. Q3PO is now wounded, so they're minus 1d to everything else that they do this round. The first action for Q3PO is going to be to fire their blaster with their blaster skill, which they don't have, so they default to dexterity, and they are now wounded, so they reduce their dice by 1d, so Q3PO is rolling 1d, which is Q3PO's wild die, to try and hit. Okay.
Did it explode? It exploded, right?
It, in fact, complicated. So with the 1 die, Q3PO complicated, and fires the blaster crossways between you and Cutter, flying in, like shooting it into the wall of the ship, which showers it with sparks. Because one of Q3PO's photoreceptors is now offline, and so now it's trying to recalibrate and so forth, and it's not doing so well. And Cutter is just starts to laugh. Vilver's action.
Okay. I think she goes, "Don't worry, buddy. You can do it." And tries. It's like, we're gonna remain positive, and good, and happy, and calm. And she's not calm, but she's gonna just say that I'm gonna be calm, and she just kind of repeats that in her head.
Okay.
And then I would like to know, if I wanted to use lightsaber combat,
Yes.
that skill.
Yeah.
Is that an action?
That's an action to activate the power. So you're gonna make your control and sense rolls to activate that power as your first action this turn. Absolutely.
Because she's gonna be thoughtful about using her lightsaber as opposed to
smart,
wild about it.
Okay.
So this is her way of trying to control that.
And I don't have it in front of me, so remind me the control and sense difficulties for lightsaber combat.
Control is moderate, sense
Okay.
is easy.
So the control, which makes sense because you're trying to control your emotions in this moment. So that difficulty is 11, and the sense is easy, so the sense is a 6.
Okay, I'm gonna do my sense first. That I feel more confident with. Yeah, and that's an 8.
Okay.
And then I am going to use a character point.
Well, remember to roll your control, because the wild die could
Okay.
explode, and then you don't have to blow the character point until you know you need it.
Okay. I do need to use the character point because I'm not going to make it. It's a 7. I could use another one, but...
You can, but it would be a high roll, right?
Yeah, but then I don't have many character points left.
No. So you have to decide if you're going to let it go or if you're going to try for it.
I'd have to get a 4 or higher. So I'm going to say no, and then I just am unable to do this.
Okay. Okay. And sorry, Vilra, did you declare 1 action or 2?
I declared 2.
Okay. So then it is the second action for Cutter, who laughs as the droid sputters around, and Cutter's going to throw a second throwing knife, and this one's going to be directed to you, Vilra. Vilra, you can roll a dodge as a reaction to this, if you wish, because the difficulty is not very high because you're in such close quarters.
Yeah, I'll do a dodge.
And then remember that you already took an action this turn trying to activate lightsaber combat, so you're minus 1d to your dodge.
Okay. That's a 9 for my dodge.
Cutter beats your dodge, but rolled a complication on their throwing knife. And so the throwing knife hits the mark. It's not a game, Vilra. He's trying to hurt you or kill you because the throwing knife hits the bandolier square where your heart would be, and the bandolier stops the knife from going in.
I also have half body armor, or partial body armor.
Sure, so that's fair. The armor would protect you there as well. But in this case, because of the complication, I'm just saying that the knife doesn't hit the mark, but the intent sure does. That's Cutter's second action. You have your second action.
I think it's lightsaber time. I mean, I think that scares her, and instead of getting angry, she's just trying to be like, don't get angry, don't get angry, don't get angry.
Okay. Now you're not close. You're not close
fail.
enough to him. So are you going to ignite the blade so you have it ready, or are you going to use movement to close the distance and then ignite the blade once you're close to the distance to him?
I am going to ignite the blade so it's ready, and then take like a defensive pose with it, like because he said I can block stuff with this.
Okay.
So she's gonna kind of hold it so that it's angled like across her.
Okay. Top of the round. You're going to continue to react, or are you going to act first?
I'm going to continue to react.
Okay. How many actions, Vilra, are you taking?
I guess 2.
2 actions. Q3PO is going to take 1 action. Cutter's going to take 2 actions.
Okay.
Cutter's going to go first because you're reacting to him. The blade ignites, and Cutter kind of like staggers back for a second, and like he gets this big smile on his face. Huh! Complex didn't say there'd be a Jedi. He didn't say there'd be a Jedi.
I never said I was a Jedi.
He didn't say a Jedi? There's a Jedi. There's a Jedi. There's a Jedi.
No.
And good soldiers follow orders! He drops the throwing knife in his hand, and he draws a vibroblade from his belt. A much larger, fatter, energized knife. And Cutter is going to take his first action and charge you. And he closes the distance so you're in melee range as he yells out that good soldiers follow orders.
Oh, that's right. Oh no, he just got like...
Q3PO's action is to pull the throwing knife out of their socket uselessly, and then just the photoreceptor dangles from their face, and Q3PO's got banter going on, but you're not going to hear it because you're super focused on what's happening right now. Vilra, it's your first action this turn.
Can I use an action to melee parry or brawling parry?
So he hasn't attacked you yet because he had to use his
Okay.
action to close the distance. So you can choose to attack, or you can save your dice pool, because if you attack him, right, then you're going to, because you're already minus 1d, you've declared 2 actions. You can tell me what you're doing if you want to stay defensive, or if you want to use your first action to do something offensively.
I think she's going to stay defensive because she saw herself acting irrationally the day before. It didn't go well.
Okay.
He's acting irrational now.
Okay.
And she's sort of going to hope that because of that, he'll screw up and she can take advantage of that.
Okay.
Which is why she's also on the defense of reacting. Granted that this theory might change.
It's the second actions. Cutter's going to take a second action because Cutter's a good soldier, and good soldiers follow orders, and he is
Good.
going to stab you with his vibroblade.
Try. I mean, please don't.
Now, you can use your lightsaber skill as a reaction to parry this melee attack that Cutter's doing on you.
Okay, what if my melee parry is better? Can I use that?
Semantics,
Please?
but you're actually fighting with a lightsaber, so you're using a lightsaber skill. It's a more difficult weapon, right? So that's why.
Yeah. So it's a 9 total, but I got a complication on my wild die.
Okay.
It's been so much fun playing with you guys. I'll
So
have a new
luckily,
character for
this was a
season
to
3.
hit. Luckily, this was a to hit roll and not damage because Cutter got a 21. Cutter's going to roll damage, which is his strength, plus 1d for the vibroblade.
Okay, do I roll anything for this?
You're going to roll your strength, and you're going to add your armor that you're wearing to resist this.
Against physical or energy?
Physical.
Physical, okay. And this still has a wild die. God, it's a flip dice.
Yes, still has a wild die.
I got a 9.
Cutter got a 14, and his wild die exploded.
That sounds right.
And you got a, how much did you get? A 9, you said?
A 9.
Yeah. Okay. With a ferocity and an almost uncontrolled rage, he closes the distance. You bring the lightsaber up, and he slips the vibroblade past your guard and stabs it into your body, cutting in past the armor. And Vilra is now wounded. You are now minus 1d to all other rolls and actions going forward the rest of this fight.
Okay.
Rah! And he stabs you. We're at the top of the round. You have initiative. Are you going to react, or are you going to act first?
Well, do I not get my second action?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I apologize. We skipped that. So you still get your second action, just remembering that you're now wounded, so you're minus 1d for the 2 actions, and now minus 1d for being wounded. So you're minus 2d now to whatever action you're taking right now.
I'd like to hit him with my laser sword.
Okay, you do that. He's going to try and parry that with his vibroblade, but he's already taken 2 actions, and so he's going to be an extra minus 2d to his parry roll as a reaction.
Fine, I'm only rolling 1 dice. That's where we're at.
Okay. Got a
Oh,
1.
I'm sorry, plus 1. So it's a 2 total,
Okay.
but it's a complication.
Okay. Okay. We'll come back to the complication later.
Sounds great.
He dodges the lightsaber in hand-to-hand combat range as you strike out with it, the same way that you tried to do with the bounty hunter. But you just don't feel like you've got you got staggered by that vibroblade wound, and so you just didn't quite have your full position right as you're out of position. And he's a combat-trained clone trooper, and the attack misses. Now we're back up to the top of the round. You have initiative. Are you going to react, or are you going to act first?
I'm going to act first now.
How many actions are you taking?
Just the 1.
1 action. You're wounded, so you're going to be minus 1d to that roll. Q3PO is going to take 1 action. They're wounded. They're minus 1d to their roll. Cutter's going to take 1 action. And Cutter is not wounded. Okay. Do you want to go first, or do you want Q3PO to go first?
Q3PO can go first.
Q3PO is wounded, and so with their 2d dexterity reduced to 1d for being wounded. They're going to try and shoot Cutter at point blank range with the blaster pistol.
Okay, but it's hard to dodge that. It's point blank. You can do it, buddy.
Q3PO exploded on their 1d.
Yes.
So Cutter has to dodge that.
Come on, buddy.
He only declared one action, so he's only minus 1d off his dodge. Cutter's dodge exploded. Cutter's dodge exploded again, which is a very good time for Cutter to explode dodging rather than attacking. Q3PO pulls up the blaster pistol, wavers it as it's trying to focus in with the one photoreceptor flickering and the other one dangling loosely from its face, and fires off the shot at point blank range, and another shower of sparks inside the freighter, but misses the mark because Cutter just pulls back the head real fast as Cutter's engaged in mortal combat with Vilra. Vilra, your first action.
I want to hit him. I want to attack him.
Vilra,
He's trying to kill me.
Vilra, do you want to do anything else? Do you want to declare anything else before you declare your roll?
I don't think so.
Do you have any other resources at your disposal, Vilra, that you want to use in this moment?
I need to check to see what Accelerate Healing does.
That's something that's helpful after the fight, but will not help you in this moment.
I didn't think so. Is there something that you're thinking of that I'm not thinking of?
Vilra, is the Force with you right now?
Oh yeah, I should use a Force die. I think she's scared now. She's really trying her best to not go crazy.
Okay.
And just like be homicidal, but right now she's defending herself and not her friends. But in the end of the day, her friends need her to fly this ship out of here.
If Cutter takes you down, there's no one to save your friends.
There's no one to save my friends. I'm gonna do this. I am not accepting failure today. So we will be using a force point.
Your dice pool is now doubled. Double everything, and then tell me what roll you're making.
We are making a lightsaber roll.
Okay. Which Cutter's going to attempt to parry with melee parry.
He can try.
Remember, you can't add a character point to this because you've already doubled your dice pool.
Right. So it's a 16 total.
You get a 16 after you spend your force point with the lightsaber. Cutter rolls melee parry, and Cutter's wild die exploded. Cutter's wild die exploding took him to 13.
Oh.
Roll your damage.
And I don't remember what damage is because I never
5D.
assume I'm going to hit 5D.
5D.
Okay.
It's not higher because lightsaber combat didn't kick in for you.
And that does use a wild die still.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
And this dice pool is not doubled, right? It's just 5D. So yeah.
Yeah. So it is 20 with a 1 on my wild die.
Okay.
So.
Cutter's strength roll exploded, which took him to 15. Cutter is now wounded, so you get a glancing shot where it comes off because he had armor underneath his jacket, and so you get a flash. Sparks fly off, the lightsaber flies, he staggers backwards, but the armor takes the brunt of it rather than his body. You acted first. Now it's Cutter's turn to act. Cutter only had one action, which was to stab you. He's now minus 1d. You can still, as a reaction, use your lightsaber to parry this melee attack. You're going to be minus 1d for being wounded, and minus 1d for having already taken your action this turn. So minus 2d, but you can still roll your lightsaber skill to... And actually, your dice pool is doubled for this round, so you still get to roll a doubled lightsaber, minus 2d if you're going to try and parry this.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to try and parry, right?
You have to.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to.
Okay, so... Okay, so let me roll... No complications this time. 18.
Which beats his 15
Oh!
on the lightsaber. And so he scrapes it off your armor and scrapes it off the wall as he's slashing at you with this humming vibra blade. As your lightsaber is, you're trying to keep the lightsaber between him and you to dissuade him from getting too close. You're locked in melee combat now with a clone trooper. He yells out again. Good soldiers follow orders! We're back up at the top of the round, Vilra. Are you going to act first or react first?
I'm going to act first.
Okay.
When I hit him
Q3PO
again.
is going to
Oh yeah, let Q3PO first. Go
Q3PO is
first.
going to
You
declare
got
one
it,
action.
buddy.
How many actions, Vilra, are you going to declare?
Just the one.
Okay. And Cutter's going to declare one action. Do you want Q3PO to take their shot again?
Yeah, go for it, buddy. I'm cheering him on. I'm like, you can do this. Just stay calm.
Q3PO points the blaster again, pulls the trigger. No deactivations! Q3PO misses the mark, but still fires off another shot. Vilra, it's your action.
Okay. We're gonna try and hit him again.
Okay.
But I'm minus 1D.
Okay.
Ugh, I'm in trouble. Okay.
Now you can, if you wish, declare another force point if you decide to for this round again.
I need to survive, so yeah, let's do that.
I agree. Okay. And he's going to try and parry that. He's minus 1D already for being wounded, but he only declared one action, so there's no extra multi-action penalty for that. Rolling his parry against your lightsaber skill.
23.
Your 23 hits. Roll your damage, 5D. He's now wounded, even though he's wearing armor.
Eh? Oh, not very high, but... So 14.
Describe how you take down Cutter.
I think it's she's doing her best to remain defensive. It's holding this thing, getting a good angle, this is about self-defense. This is not about wanting to hurt him. So it's very much if I could talk him down, I could, but there's a violence inside his eyes that she just cannot think she can reach. So and then I think it's just, she goes to dodge and then just sees an opening and then just swings down.
Okay. Cutter crumples down to the floor. Q3PO is still pointing a blaster pistol between you and Cutter and kind of waving it dangerously in the air. But Cutter stops moving.
Okay. And then I think she closes the lightsaber blade, kind of grabs Q3PO's unsteady arm and brings it down. Okay. We're okay. I have to go put that part back in, and we're going to stay calm. And she goes to go find the part, and he's gripping the lightsaber in one hand. It's closed now, but okay.
Do you wish me to use a beautification routine to clean the crew area?
Is it super bloody?
No, not terribly. He's basically saying, do you want him to take out the trash?
Yes, if you could dispose of this thing.
Okay.
Check him for money first, because we do need that. And then just keep an eye out. Yell if anyone else comes in.
Q3PO leans over Cutter's body. Organics have this unhealthy association with credits, and starts looting.
We
Cutter's.
needed to live. Capitalism is the enemy.
I need you to roll your Starship Repair roll. You find the compressor that he had pulled out. He didn't do too much damage to it, but he did kind of yank it out roughly. You know exactly where it goes, but you need to use your Starship Repair to repair it and get it back in, as you can hear the heavy sound of Cutter's body being dragged toward the ramp.
Do I still have my force point for this?
No, that was just for that round of combat.
Dang. Okay. And I'm still -1.
Yes, you are still wounded.
Vera, where's that evac, please?
I'm coming. You hear very breathy, I'm getting, So it's an 8 total.
It's not a difficult repair because you know where the part goes. He knew just enough to take it out that would prevent the cycle from running through the engine so that it couldn't complete the startup ignition. You can hear the comm buzzing, Gila's voice yelling at you. As you look, Vilra, the complication being that Rolwora's bandolier has been cut in two and kind of slips off your body due to the frantic slashing of a vibroblade and a lightsaber back and forth. But you have no time for that now, and you get the compressor reinstalled. It's not difficult repair, but it's just taking time, precious time. In the time it takes you to repair and then run back to the cockpit, Q-3PO is coming back up the ramp, having removed Cutter's body. You get into the seat, get into the chair. One more time, roll your starship piloting and do your startup sequence. You are muted, my friend.
That's a 12 total.
12 total?
I got a complication on my wild die.
We'll remember that.
Was I able to grab the bandolier and bring it back up with me? Because she would, out of sentimentality, grab it from the ground.
Yes,
itself.
you have it. It's just that it's too damaged to wear right now. Engines flare, and the freighter takes off skyward. The rumble of the plates, the vibrations in the seat, the controls in your hands. For the second time in a decade, Azah sits the chair and takes their ship skyward. Two-Point, you finish rigging up the barrels. You can hear Dale's voice yelling for people to get to the pylon, to get to the exit point. You can hear Imperial officers yelling.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear an even louder sound. As an Imperial shuttle flies past the rig, having descended from the clouds above, and then moves to the landing platform, which sits right off the edge of the loading station. And as the shuttle comes down, and as the ramp descends, you hear booted feet coming down the ramp. The white, armored feet, not of Imperial snowtroopers, of Imperial stormtroopers, as they descend off the shuttle and start flooding onto the platform. You can see you're between the barrels. You've finished hooking up the last of them now. You can see Dale across the way. Dale knows where you are and looks to you, and then he sees the stormtroopers coming, and he starts moving to intercept.
So our evacuation alarms blaring, right?
Yes.
So I think Two-Pint is gonna see Dale moving towards the stormtroopers. There's people running around. We still need to get people out. So I think if this is rigged up and ready, Two-Pint is going to try and cut Dale off to get to these stormtroopers and be like, you're here to help with the evacuation? That is taking up top priority. I've just been instructed to come and inform you.
An Imperial officer joining the stormtroopers. As you come up to Dale, as Dale sees you, and Dale looks to the entrance to the hatch down to the pillar, which is across the flat space, as a cargo shuttle is circling around and coming into position to start picking up the next load of barrels, and the officer points to the stormtroopers and says, "Secure this platform. Secure the operations center. There's a security breach." And he points to Dale and he says, Prepare these pallets for loading." And he gives Dale a direct order. And there's like one or two remaining sort of the crew chiefs, the ones that were helping Dale, the ones that they're nearby as well. And he orders them. He says, "Get those pallets ready for the cargo skiff," as a cargo dropship comes in, ready to pick up. And Dale's standing there, and you're standing there, and the officers and the Imperial Stormtroopers start filing past you, moving to all sorts of positions on the platform, and some of them heading inside to the operations center. As the Empire, the newly arrived Imperial forces, are taking command of the platform.
Dang it. Okay. Two Pint then is just gonna look to Dale, and do I know how much of a delay I can give this explosion?
Not much, because of the haste in which you had to do this. It's rigged for an ignition and blow.
Okay. We'll kind of try and casually, as much as possible, float over to Dale. Be like, all right, we're ready. But
he says.
I think we.
He says.
I don't know.
It's time for you to go. And
are you sure?
As he says that, he says, I'll give the boats as much time as I can. And he holds out his hand to you, presumably for the ignition switch.
I think Two Pint looks at him for a long minute, and then is just like, I swear, if you mess up the glorious bomb I just created somehow, I'm going to come back and I'm going to kick your ass. And is gonna hand the ignition switch over. And it's like, Rach, get as much time as you can. The boats should be there. And is gonna be careful and and just gonna kind of give a nod, and then all right.
And so Dale and the workers go in the direction of the pallets where the cargo skiff's coming in to pick up. You're going to go in the opposite direction towards the pylon exit.
Yeah, I think can Two Pint just fly over the side?
Yes, the issue is that your repulsor lift has a flight ceiling, and I believe it's 6 or 8 meters or something. So if you go over the side, there's nothing for your repulsor to resist against, and so you're going to be in free fall. And it's not strong enough to break your fall as you hit the water.
Got it. Then I think before Two Pint... No, that's too much. Okay, Two Pint is gonna head to the thing, head to the pylon. If Two Pint passes any droids who are just going about their business,
which
Two Pint
you do,
is like, we have orders to evacuate.
You do.
And try and get droids out too.
And the officer yells, "Get those droids to the operations center!" And 2 Imperial Stormtroopers turn, and they look to start herding Two Pint and a couple of the other maintenance and service droids on the top of the platform, not towards the evacuation door, but to the operations center back in the opposite direction. And we'll leave you there for a moment as Ren and Gila and Tanal have one remaining probe droid, which is still hovering about, has already been shot, is already damaged, but is still flying. We still have initiative. You still have initiative. You can choose to act first or react first.
Let's act first. Let's
take it out, sis.
Okay. Are you only taking one action, Tanal?
Yeah.
Okay. The probe droid's only taking one action.
Cool.
Probe droid's going to dodge as a reaction, so got 1d off the dodge.
Cool.
As you use the cycler rifle.
Alright. No explosions, but no complications either. That is 6. And it's going to be 15 to hit. I'm going to use a character point. Actually, I'm going to use a character point.
Okay.
Because I want to do better than that, and I've been hoarding them for this exact purpose.
Okay.
Okay. What does that get me to? I can't do math. Oh, I literally just said it. It gets me to an 18.
Which is a really, really appropriately timed character point, because it beats the 17 that the probe droid just rolled on its dodge. I need you to roll your damage on the cycler rifle. Probe droid is wounded, it's minus 1d to its strength roll.
Okay, there was literally a sign. So. Okay, no explosions, but no complications. 10, 14.
Another shot, another lodging of the slug. It damages it, but it doesn't drop it. The probe droid is wounded again, so it's now wounded twice, which means it's now minus 2D, which makes it really, really difficult to do a lot of its actions, but it's still flying. It's still there. Gila, Ren, you have an action this turn. What are you doing?
Gila, you want to shoot it? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'll take a shot. I'll take a shot at it.
It's like aiming the camera. Point and shoot.
I'm gonna use a character point.
Okay.
Explode. That is 21.
Which beats the exceptionally high dodge of 17 that it had rolled against Tanal's shot. Roll your damage, Gila. Probe droid is now minus 2D because it's wounded twice. Loses 2 dice off of its strength check to resist this shot.
That is 24.
Oh.
Gila, describe how you take out the final probe droid, which, by the way, flew past you, flew past the prow, wasn't targeting the shooters on the prow of the ship, and was lining up to take a shot at the engines of the boat.
I think Gila flashes back to a moment of like recording Tanal working on doing shots and teaching somebody else how to shoot, and things. So like relax, hold your breath on the outtake, take the shot. Opens both of her eyes and lets one loose right into the eye.
It squeals and sparks, and then just plunges into the water of the bay, disappearing from view before it gets the shot off on the boat's engines.
Tanal, I shot it, I killed it.
It's hot.
The coast is clear. The captain can gun the engines, and you can see the other boats have converged on the pylons, and you already see roughnecks pouring out of the access hatch and onto the boats. The evacuation's underway. Get your boat over there as quickly as you can. 2 pints.
Come in.
2 pints comlink goes off as 2 pint is being herded by Imperial stormtroopers along with another little cadre of droids towards the operations center, as Dale and the remaining just skeleton crew of roughnecks that are his most trusted people on the surface of the top platform, being ordered to prepare the oil drums ready to be loaded. Oil drums which are rigged to blow, which Dale has the ignition, the detonator.
I think 2 pint is going to stop and start to like shudder in place a little bit to hopefully get the 2 organics escorting us to like look at him.
Which they totally do, because they've given orders to escort you, so the stormtroopers are focused on you, and they're like herding you, and they're like, inside, get that droid inside.
Perfect. I would like to take my 2 sprayers and spray him in the face and run away.
Okay, roll your spray for me, which is going to be a dexterity. 100%.
I should check how many dice I'm rolling again before I just pick up all of my dice, huh? Okay, 3. Woo. Alright. No explosions, but not bad. That is a 13.
Okay. They're not expecting it. They're not trying to dodge because they're not expecting a response from that. So it's at point blank range, and you catch them in their face mask, covering it up with face over their eyeglasses, and they all stagger backwards. And the droid's malfunctioned.
I'm gonna just turn to the other droids I'm with, and I'm like, new orders. We gotta go, and hope they follow me out, but. At the end of the day, 2 pints gotta get out himself, so it's like, tries to be as convincing as possible, and then just zooms off to the exit.
2 pint, we're rolling initiative. What's your perception?
2D.
2D. I'm going to roll Dale's perception for your side for initiative. And I'm going to roll the Imperial's perception. Okay. We're rolling initiative. You and the droids are making a break for the platform. The officer and the couple of remaining stormtroopers on the platform see this.
Mm-hmm.
2 Point, do you want to act first, or do you want to react to what happens?
I think I want to act first because I'm not worried about what they're doing. I'm just trying to go.
Sure.
So I just want to use my...
The distance from where you are on the platform and where the stormtroopers were trying to herd you to the operations now to the access point to the hatch is going to take 2 movements. So it'll take 2 actions, or 2 move actions essentially, to cross the width of the platform past the barrels to get to the hatch. Just so that you know.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. How many actions are you going to declare this round?
I'm going to take 2.
Okay. Dale's going to take 2. And the officer and the stormtroopers are each going to take 1. You are going to presumably take your move action as your first action and have the droids follow you, which they do.
Absolutely.
Dale breaks into a sprint and starts running back towards the stormtroopers and the officer as his first action. The officer in the first action is to see that the stormtroopers have been assaulted, not understanding fully what's happening, and sees the droids fleeing and says, "Blast those droids!" Gives the command to the stormtroopers. The stormtroopers are going to shoulder their rifles, the 2 of them that are next to the officer, and fire at the fleeing droids. 2 Point, you can roll a dodge in reaction to this. Remembering that you've chosen to take 2 actions this turn, so you'll be minus 1d to your actions, and then minus 1d again because you're declaring a dodge as a second action now. A third action, essentially.
Got it. I'm going to use a character point.
Okay. The first trooper fires a shot, takes a step forward, misses with a shot. It sparks off of the solid metal plating of the holding platform above, and then the trooper, having rolled a complication on his roll, his booted foot hits some leaked hydrocarbon and slips and ass over tea kettles onto the platform. The second trooper takes a firm footing shot and fires and hits you, 2 Point. I need you to roll your strength for me. They are using blaster rifles, so they are using 5d damage.
And do I minus any dice?
No,
for this?
you're not minus dice for the actions for this. Only if you ended up being wounded would you subtract from your strength roll.
Right. Okay. I exploded. Woo! So that's 3, 1, 4 plus 6 is 10. So 14.
Okay. Which is good, because I didn't explode, but I'm still rolling 5d dice.
Jeez,
and I rolled
Louise.
21 for damage. So you were wounded, 2 Point. The blaster rifle hits you squarely as you run, causing you to skitter a little bit off course with your hover. And you're now minus 1d for all other actions going forward for this.
Okay.
We're at the top of the round. You guys have initiative. Are you going to act first, or are you going to react first?
Act first.
Okay. Dale has sprinted as his action and closed the distance to the stormtroopers and the officer. Dale's taking 1 action this turn. How many actions are you taking, 2 Point?
I will take 2.
What is your first action?
First action, I want to get to the door if possible.
Which you can do that as your move. You're now at the door, ready to go. The droids are basically just taking 1 action just to move. They're squealing and trying to avoid getting blasted, and so they follow you in. Dale takes his first action, and for the second time in a decade, a lightsaber in the settlement of Somber flashes into view. And a green lightsaber ignites on the platform as a cargo skiff loads in, as the officer is pointing and the stormtrooper has fallen on his feet and the other one's firing. And Dale lights into the stormtrooper with his lightsaber. We're just going to roll a really ineffectual parry for the stormtrooper, which does not happen. And we're going to roll Dale's damage. And the stormtrooper's strength. Dale cuts into the stormtrooper, who cries out and staggers away. And the officer, total surprise and shock and no small amount of terror, "There's a Jedi! There's a Jedi on the rig!" And he yells that out in earshot of all the stormtroopers that are still on the platform. The trooper, who amazingly did not go down, but is wounded, futilely tries to take a shot at Dale in response. Dale is going to attempt to parry that shot with his lightsaber. Dale's wild die exploded, and Dale's wild die exploded again, and he steps in front of the trooper, snaps the blade at an angle, and the shot hits and just redirects off the blade into the sky. The Imperial officer is going to draw their pistol and also try and fire at Dale. Dale can try and parry that one as well, but now it's another reaction. I just rolled 3 6s for Dale, including his wild die.
Oh,
and his
my.
wild die exploded twice. You see Dale standing on the platform, snow and rain and sleet coming down. Stormtroopers now, having spread out to the platform, are starting to reemerge. All these white-shelled individuals coming out in response to the cry of the officer, as Dale snaps with 2 quick parries, 2 blaster bolts to go flying off into the sky. One stormtrooper laying on his back, trying to get back up to his feet. The second one staggered with a huge black smoking gash across his armor. It's the top of the round, 2 pint. Your choice is essentially this. Are you going to stay and help Dale, or are you going to get down the hatch?
I am going to call out to Dale and say, "10 seconds, then you hit it, no matter what." And then, are there other workers still up there, or can I just close this door behind me?
You can close at this end. You can just close this door behind you. Once the droids are in with you, that's it.
Great, then yes. As soon as they're in, I close the door and start running.
Dale hears you. He looks at you, and he just gives you a little nod, and then swings the saber around, bringing it to bear, facing off against an Imperial officer and a stormtrooper, and now a whole squad of stormtroopers starting to converge out of the various corners of the upper platform as the hatch closes with a metallic clang, and you don't see Dale Elkin, Jedi Master, anymore.
Okay.
Get the boat to the bottom of the pillar. Roughnecks start piling onto the boat. They're piling onto the other boats. Everybody's getting on. In the distance, you hear the sounds of a freighter engine getting closer. Get all the people on board. Boat gets really full really quickly. All the roughnecks pile out. But there's no 2 pint, no Dale. You don't see them. They're not here.
2 pint, come in. We don't have a lot of time. Are you coming?
I am coming down the stairs as fast as my repulsor can carry me. If you need to shove off, then go, do it.
Does this ship have a net, like a fishing net?
Sure as hell does.
Captain, swing that. Jump!
Okay. The crew launches into action, and they whip out the net on the boom arm and swing it around. And there's a bunch of like portals and things, 2 Pint, and there's other access ports right higher up. As the tide of the bay goes up and down, there's more than one access point in the pillar that you can get to. You can just fly one of those hatches open, and you're well above the water. But you can see ships. You can see one of the ships already pulling away, loaded up with roughnecks. A second one is just starting to go, and a third one beneath is just starting to swing away, also loaded with people. And there's a giant fishing net right beneath you.
I think you hear 2 Pint is gonna push open that window, and I think on the comm you hear a ah, and then it gets louder in real life as 2 Pint comes plummeting down towards you in the net, just making a droid scream the whole way down.
2 Pint leaps, hits the net. The captain guns the engine, and you start rushing away from the pillars, away from the rig. The drill still doing its spin. They're still extracting, even as they're doing all these pieces. There's the sounds of an Imperial cargo ship hovering up above. It's too far away. You can't hear it, but you're looking. You can't hear blaster fire, but you can sure see some as it starts shooting off into the sky in different directions.
Who's shooting?
Stormtroopers and Dale, and he's got his light sword out, and we've got like 2 seconds before he blows everything up. So we should, Vilra?
I'm on my way.
Okay.
I'm on my way.
I'll just quickly look around and describe the ship we're on, and if possible, like, hold my, little tummy gun in the air, so like kind of shooting off a flare almost, as much as a laser can be. Hurry!
Yeah, and I think at that point she's gonna be flying, and then turns to Q3 and be like, okay, so I need you to prepare to like lower the ramp to let them in. Just be ready, and then we're gonna go, and we're gonna go really fast.
Q3PO goes off to the ramp, photoreceptor still dangling from its face, hits the ramp. You see a ramp descend. You see a very sturdy-looking protocol droid with battle droid legs standing at the top of the ramp. Vilra, you're going to make a space transport's piloting roll to keep the ship steady as you bring it alongside the fishing vessel so that your crew can get on board.
Before I do that, I would like to think while I was flying, could I have done control pain, which lets me kind of ignore my wounded
Absolutely. Roll your control, which you're wounded when you make the control roll, but if you succeed, then it will eliminate that.
Which is a very easy roll.
There you go. So you're just minus 1d for that very easy roll, which DC 5.
5? That's actually going to be very hard for me, but we'll see.
Very easy.
It's only one dice now.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a 6? Oh, it explodes.
It explodes.
Okay, so that's an 8 total.
So you're keeping control pain up, and then that will take away the minus 1d from your wounded status for the time being. Roll your starship piloting to get the ship in.
Okay, so that's an 18 total. And I swear to God, I used a different die, and there's a complication on this wild die.
Okay. The complication is you bump the boat, and the boat like teeters and wavers a little bit, and there's a little bit damage and scraping. But you bring the ship up alongside. The ramp is there. You can all get on board. It's going to just require a quick climb and a jump, but you can do it as you're ready to leave the ship, the fishing vessel.
All right, everybody load up.
Captain, thank you.
Captain gives you a salute. They watch, sort of, both in a little bit of awe and just gratitude as you do that. And as you get in, and as you're going up the ramp, and as you're offloading the fishing vessel, there is a white light in the sky, followed by the sonic boom as the first of the barrels, the first of the pallets of barrels explodes. igniting the second pallet of barrels beside it, and then the third pallet of barrels, which was on the trigger, ignites, which ignites the fourth pallet of barrels, and then the chain reaction begins, and there's a as the explosions start going off on top of it, turning the dim light of the dawn into bright light as the entire platform above ignites into a fire. Cargo ship, which was there, like jeeters and veers off, and then starts to spin away, and the Imperial shuttle gets pelted with flaming debris that impacts into it, smashes it off the platform, causing the Imperial shuttle, with its wings folded up, to tumble down into the sea. The top of the platform is engulfed in fire. You don't have any time to watch. It's time to go.
Gun it.
Shoot the ship skyward. There's a bunch of comm chatter on your receiver, presumably on the Imperial channels, as they're trying to give orders to their ships and whatever ships they... No one's expecting a freighter to be in the area. Imperial TIE fighters weren't flying escort for the cargo run. This is supposed to be routine. This is supposed to be a pickup. You've got time to break atmosphere and shoot skyward. And you shoot up, leaving the flaming wreckage of the rig, the frozen tundra and settlement of Somber, and the planet of Fest behind as you break for the stars. Cloud gives way to black space and then to star. You can quickly orbit the planet to get away from the Star Destroyer, which you can't see because it was already descended into atmosphere and was covered by the cloud cover. But Ren, you know they're going to be scrambling fighters, they're going to be doing scans, and if there's a risk to the Star Destroyer, they're going to pull it back from atmospheric and they're going to bring it up into orbit really fast.
The sooner we can get out of here, the better.
That's my plan. I don't want to stay here any longer than we... Did Dale make it?
No. At least I don't know. I mean, maybe there were some Jedi shenanigan, but probably not. So.
Well, told him not to. I'll cry about it later. And is upset that, people died. And then it's just like, okay, yeah, let's leave. I want to be far. Let's go. Can we go to a warm planet next? Because
You're driving.
You need to set a course, Vilra. You need to test this nav computer install and see if it worked. You, or whoever's helping you, needs to roll astrogation, which is under mechanical, to plot a course to make the jump to light speed.
what if I wanted to use instinctive astrogation?
Absolutely. What's your difficulty on those?
It is moderate, modified by difficulty of journey.
Okay. So, difficulty of journey, are you going to go to a new system that you don't know, or are you going to go to one of the systems that Tanal's stepfather sent you, potentially containing a safe house or the site of a former clone operations base?
Safe house planet,
Okay.
for sure. Definitely that.
Okay. Roll your astrogation. Or roll your instinctive astrogation. Roll your force powers to complete that instinctive astrogation where you rely on the force to guide you.
I have one last force point. I want to use it.
Use it now. This is a very important jump. You want to get it right.
I'm just sitting there. I'm like, anytime, Vilra, anytime, like we see the fighter starting to appear.
Give her a minute.
Yeah.
Just give her a minute, okay? Don't rush her. She's got anxiety, all right?
That's right.
Gonna make it
It's
worse.
not the force, it's anxiety. No, so that is I can't make this crap up. That's a 21 with a complication.
Oh my!
I can every die.
By the way, all
May,
of your
throw them out.
D6s.
May, do you
get
need
new
new
ones.
dice? I'll buy you new dice.
It might just need new D6. I bought these. They're new.
Who's sitting in the co-pilot chair?
If nobody else does, I will do that because I know a little
Ren
bit
knows how to be a
about
pilot.
it.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Who's sitting at the comm station?
I will.
Okay. There's a bunch of chatter. There's a bunch of signals. There's a bunch of activity, Gila. Ren, she's not using the nav computer. She's entering coordinates by hand. The calculations required to do that are astronomical. It's why there's astromech droids on starfighters to help pilots make the calculations for those jump to light speed.
That's why it's called astrogation. Vilra,
Yeah.
are you
I know
going
where
to?
we're going.
You're going to jump us into a sun or a black hole? What?
I just know where we're going.
Okay. Ren is like starting to interfere, but then Vilru says that, and with a great effort of will, Ren just nods and goes,
You can put your hands on the controls, Ren, and engage the hyperdrive the moment the calculations are complete. So you can have that ready
Yep.
because it's important to make the jump once the calculations are there. Because you're moving, space is always moving. It's got to be precise. The moment you get the signal, you got to go, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you can have your hands on the controls ready to go. She's completing the calculations. Tanal, where are you? In the cockpit with the crew?
Probably. I think either there or just in case
No.
there might be people on our butt. If
Yeah.
there's a gunner
Sure, no.
station,
Tanal would be
I will
Tanal's in the
take
turret.
that.
Totally makes sense. That's what you'd be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Vilra, I think, has that moment where it's kind of like when you see people do like complicated math and they're kind of like looking somewhere and then they're like, okay. And then like mumbling under her breath, and it's just kind of like what she does when she's like working on something and really into it, but now she's doing it with math and the force.
And in the
Force
crew
math.
area, 2-pint, Q3PO, stab wound to its head socket, photoreceptor dangling. You find Q3PO holding in one hand a blaster pistol and the other hand a throwing knife.
So, you're gonna have to fill me in, I think, on what happened.
Well,
But,
the good news is there was no deactivations today. Well, there was one deactivation, but it wasn't on your crew. Or maybe, more accurately, it wasn't on our crew?
no,
Gila? Go ahead.
let's go. Strap in. It's probably gonna be bumpy.
Gila, there's comm chatter. The Imperial channels are busy. There's lots of signals going back and forth. You can listen in. They're deploying starfighters over the area, over Somber. Starting out, there's conflicting reports. The explosion has caused a disruption of everything. They're trying to locate the remaining Imperials. The command is given for the Star Destroyer to exit atmospheric and return to high orbit for a position of safety. And all that comm chatter, Gila, and all those signals, there's another signal that comes in. And it's not coming in on an Imperial network. It's coming in on the old Republic network. The one that you know and that you used. And Gila, you have a choice. You can listen to it quietly or you can put it on speaker.
I look over at everybody and I flip the switch so that we all can listen. There's a moment of like nostalgia of like we used to do this.
There's a hologram with the signal. A figure wrapped in a heavy cloak with a hood pulled up. And they sort of turn, they're facing away from the hologram, kind of turns towards it. This is the shepherd sending a signal to the gardener. If you read this. And when you look over at the hologram, Gila, and if anybody chooses to look over at the comm station, you can see chin horns peeking out from beneath the hood. We got a signal. I don't know if it was for us, but we're still out here. It had been a long time. It might not be safe to send this, but I needed to make sure that you knew that we were out here, that we're still safe, but we're still on the move. It's too dangerous to stay anywhere too long. There hasn't been any communications. I don't know where to go to pick up the next flock. If there's anything you can send me, anything you can let me know. If there's anything you can do to reassure me that people are safe, it would make it easier to know. And if you get this message, Gardner, let the home flock know. Let them know that we're still here and that we're still thinking about them and that we are still missing them every single day. And let them know if there's any chance, if you can send a message to let them know we're out here and we're waiting. And Gila, you can make a communications roll to try and trace this signal to see the system of origin.
Got it. And I'm gonna use a character die. I'm just gonna use another character die just to get rid of them. Okay, so that is that is 19.
And as you go to trace the signal, Gila, to find out the system of origin, just as you did before, where you determined the previous one was coming from Salashade, you figured that out, and as you're connecting those dots on the Holonet system, on the Holonet transmission system to find it, there's a sudden loud whir and whine from the ship. The signal starts to distort, Gila. You're starting to lose it. And the freighter makes the jump to light speed just before you can trace the signal. And while that is where we leave the crew of Quadrilateral Frostfall, that is not where we leave this session. Because in the hours that follow the explosion on top of the oil rig, a drenched, soaked, wounded, burned figure crawls onto the shores of Somber, clinging to an oil drum, and drags themselves to the shore, flipping over on their back, sheer exhaustion, as Jedi Master Dale Ellikin looks skyward and looks at the flaming wreckage of the oil rig. Imperial TIE fighters like flies swarming around its carcass. And as he breathes, he looks at the barrel and then just kind of rolls it over with his arm that he's been draped across it as it drifted him to shore. 2 Pint, what mural does Dale see on the oil drum?
I think 2 Pint has drawn very hasty pictures of all of their friends standing next to each other, all just flipping a bird. Yeah. I think that's it. Just a little... That wasn't for anybody. That wasn't to make a statement. That was for him.
And in the days that follow the explosion, a civilian freighter on the pad, loading up people getting out of Somber, leaving the community. There's no Imperial Guard. The gates are open. There's more than one ship that has kind of landed in the clear areas nearby as the Empire has consolidated its structure and no longer needs to have a presence in Somber without the operation of the oil rig. And so civilian freighters are coming in to help get people off. And as the line of passengers goes up the ramp, one of them turns around. He's got a heavy poncho, shrugs off a winter jacket and tosses it to the side, revealing Stage 1 clone armor. They shoulder a rifle and a pack of gear as Complex boards the ramp up into the ship. And as he does so, he pulls a throwing knife and he looks at it and he kisses it and he tucks it away into a bandolier on his armor. And he disappears up inside the ship. And in the many, many days that follow the explosion of the oil rig and the evacuation of the Empire from Somber, we follow a plump Imperial naval captain walking the polished halls of an Imperial Star Destroyer. The Imperial Star Destroyer Fortitude, in orbit over Salashay. The captain gets to a door, which swishes open, and he steps inside, and there's a female Imperial medical officer inside. There's some patients on the beds inside there. Doctor standing in front of one patient, making notations on the data pad. And he comes over, takes the data pad from her and looks at it for a moment, looks at the patient and then puts it back down. They don't look to be in good shape. Doctor looks at the data pad. Multiple broken bones, contusions, internal bleeding, severe concussion. They couldn't save the arm, and so they replaced it. They're going to need a rebreather for the rest of their days. The captain looks to the officer. Is that from the fall? No, the esophageal damage occurred before the fall. And the captain tugs on his collar, adjusting it slightly away from his neck. It's been known to happen, he says. That's a lot of work for one officer. Who ordered this? And before she can answer, a lieutenant steps up. Captain, we've got an update. Not now. Can't you see I'm busy? Captain, it's on the missing shuttle. And he looks, and he takes the datapad from Lieutenant. Lieutenant reports, it's the Frontier, sir. She was located. Where? In the Fest system. Fest? Where in the Black Galaxy is Fest? Outer Rim. Tundra World. The Imperial has a hydrocarbon operation on it. And? There was an incident, sir. There was an uprising. Saboteurs. The hydrocarbon rig was destroyed. The Relentless found the Frontier during their cleanup sweep. The captain looks to Lieutenant and says, get this in the hands of the Admiral immediately. And before she can step away with the datapad, a fourth figure walks in. Not dressed in an Imperial officer's uniform, not a stormtrooper. Black hard-soled boots, black armor covering the chest and arms and legs, and a black triangular faced helmet covering the face with black gloves that extend out and take the datapad about the missing shuttle and the Frontier from the lieutenant's hands. The lieutenant stiffens immediately. The doctor steps back noticeably and the captain swallows. The figure, which seems to have a bit of a feminine figure despite the covering armor, steps into the room, steps next to the patient, and looks at the data pad containing the information about the frontier. The lieutenant just looks at the captain, says, "Sir," and then immediately departs. The doctor says, "I have to get to my patients," and steps out. And then the doors close, leaving the Imperial captain and this black armored figure. Takes the data pad, sets it aside. Keeps it and sets it aside, the information on the frontier. The information on the system of Fest and the explosion and the sabotage. And then reaches two black-gloved hands up to the helmet and snaps it to the side with a little hiss and retracts the helmet. And I'm going to show everybody watching, and I'm going to show the players the face that emerges as the helmet comes off. And as the helmet comes off, a female form, scaled skin, and tendrils on her head. The tendrils almost move as if under their own power. And as she looks to the Imperial captain, the tendrils almost follow her gaze as if almost drawn to that. But she doesn't say anything to the captain. The captain just stands at attention. And then the Imperial Inquisitor sister looks down to the figure laying in the bed and instead leans down closer to that figure, who's somewhat conscious, kind of stirring, eyes fluttering open. The tendrils on her head swivel and are drawn down to the figure, as if almost drawn by their presence, or maybe even the warmth of their body. The figure on the bed, eyes open, and then flash open. There's a raspy breathing, because there's a respirator mask covering the person's face. Raspy breathing coming. She puts a hand on his chest as he struggles against... He's restrained in his bed to keep him safe so that he doesn't fall out. Rest. Rest. You will need your strength. You will need your strength, because when you are ready, I need you to tell me everything you know about Salishay and about a settlement called West Crag, and about an Itochi girl. I need you to rest, because you can still yet be of service to your empire, Lieutenant Willem. And that's where we leave this, the final episode of Quadrilateral Frostfall. I have been your game master, Jason Collins. It has been my privilege to share this story with you, to have these players join us each week. It has been so much fun, and I hope for everyone watching that it has been fun for you as well. Thank you so much. And one more time, you can find me, my work as a freelance work for comic book writing, tabletop role-playing game design, and the episodes of Quadrilateral on my Linktree at digital_Collins. And of course, you can find all of the episodes of Quadrilateral and all the other excellent shows that we have on the Twitch and YouTube channels for Dungeon Scrollers.
Hi, I'm Barnaby. You can find me at that's_Barnaby all over the internet. And you can also find me now on Imagination Arcade playing Scheherazade on Marvel Multiverse.
Hello, I'm Mara. You can find me on the internet at College of Lore Dropout or just Lore Dropout, and over on Starlight Tales for some gay trans space shenanigans.
Hi, I'm Diana. You can find me at Suffix Dragonona. You can also find me committing gay space shenanigans over on Starlight Tales with my close good buddy Mara. And go check out Storybake. It should be out by now. Go look at it.
Hi, I'm May. You can find me on the internet at Maybe Mayhem. I do not do gay space things yet. Who knows? But if you follow me on Twitter, there might be some more actual plays in my future that you can see me on. Or you can check me out on my podcast called Socially Plagued. It's chill. It's funny. It's silly. It's about complaining and just being friends. So, good times.
And I have been Eric Scott DeBee, one of the founding members of the Dungeon Scrollers. Very pleased with this show. I'm so glad that we have it on the channel. You can see all kinds of stuff here on the Dungeon Scrollers channel. In the future, we're going to be putting out even more content. So if you like Star Wars, D&D, or other geeky pursuits, we got you covered. And join our Discord and you'll get to hear all about that. There should be a code somewhere or in the description of the video. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting all of us through all of our various endeavors and creative pursuits. Thank you for supporting the channel if you choose to do so. That support is meaningful. We know that you have a choice of where to get your entertainment, and we would love to be able to continue to provide more entertainment for you in the future. Thank you so much again, and we wish all of our spacers and scoundrels safe skies.